There's always that 1 second or two that you're never sure.
Yes, you are live. View on YouTube. Okay, and then I gotta share this shit.
There's a lot to share.
I know. I'm working on it.
Sharing is caring.
I wish that I don't know where on StreamYard you can just click the link.
What, the share link?
Mm-hmm.
This is members only. Okay, there's that, and then there's this, and there's what? That's what this, and then paste, and then publish, and boom. Okay, that should be everyone, and we're going. Okay, here we go. How many people we got in here?
0.
We got 0. How did Keggy? Is that you? That's
always start. No.
Who's Keggy in here?
I don't know.
When? Because this. Oh wait, this stream is not right, is it? Because it didn't give me the option to do members only. Oh shit.
No.
Hold on.
Hi, Royce.
I don't understand.
We might have messed up.
Oh, here we go.
These are the things I don't have to worry about yet. I don't have
Okay.
I think you fixed it. Yeah.
That should have done it. What the fuck? I think that this is going to be a different stream then.
Oh.
Like than that, because I think it changed. Maybe it didn't. Let's find out. We've got 6 people in here now. So I think that the people who were in here stayed.
Hey, Ricardo.
And that's okay. If you just so happen to be in here right off the gate, out the bat, or
right out the gate.
Right out the gate, I started to
right off the bat. I always do that.
Then I guess you get to stay. That's fine. But now, whoever didn't make it, let's make sure though. Did you can close stream and redo it? No, I just put it as unlisted, and the thing should be accurate. Let's make sure by clicking on it and seeing if this is the right one. Or by clicking on it.
Yes.
Yeah, seems like it's gone. So we're good. So everyone should be able to get in here. Bloodhound Horror Views, what's going on?
Hey, Bloodhound.
So, yeah, I think so. I forgot to click freaking one button, one thing.
One little thing.
That's usually what starts it. Yep.
That's what happens. Dude, we've
had a busy week. Couple
Today's
weeks.
Been crazy,
and today,
for sure.
It's been nonstop all day, every day.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
Well, at least you get a nice reprieve now, so that's good.
Twin City, did you just click the link from Patreon? If so, that will answer my question on if the link is still working or not. Zach. My wife has my membership card. You forgot to make it members only. No, I just made it unlisted. And then I posted the link in a members only thread. And the reason I made it not members only is because patrons are also allowed here. And if I do that, then I can't get the patrons in here. So yeah,
figure out a better way to do that.
Shaggy was able to get in here.
Sneaked in past security.
I could just block him. No. I'm kidding. Selena, you made it.
Pick him up.
She missed last
Hi,
week.
Selena.
Last time. Love me some Jason and Kaylee. Fauci, did you get in here without paying, man?
It's all right. We're still learning how to do these members only things. So
that's all right. That's all right. Okay.
We're glad everyone's here.
Welcome everybody. So we have a guest tonight, JT's Horror Discussions. Is that your channel's name? That's what it is.
Yeah. Yes.
So we definitely need to, let me find your channel really quick so I can share it with everybody. Make sure
thank you, man.
that everyone goes and unsubscribes to you if they are.
That's what I want. That's my goal. To go backwards.
It is
See how
horror,
fast I can hit zero.
horror reviews or discussion. What is it?
Discussions.
What I
It was
thought.
reviews at first, but
Oh, okay. Because it came up on the other thing like that. JT horror discussion March Madness.
yeah, I didn't have the theme for this month, so I just said screw it. It's March.
March Madness.
Here, paste. There's his channel. Check it out.
Thank you guys.
Or don't. I don't give a shit.
Neither do I. So.
You have to pay
either way.
extra to see the top of his head. So that's
true.
that's a little extra.
I do it for a reason. That extra money dangles in front of them.
All right. And just so everyone who is a patron or a member of the YouTube channel knows, we just posted 2 Stephen King Saturdays and 1 Monster Monday for early access for you guys. You can watch them. Well, don't watch them now because you got to stay.
Yeah, you have to hang
But
out.
as soon as this is over, you got it. And then we will have a new Slasher Sunday up tonight that you will get access to tonight.
Yes.
And we are going to be doing the Halloween novelization comparison to the original film. And fuck do I got a lot of to say. I literally just finished the book today and I started it the day before yesterday. So
Yeah.
I really pounded through that one. All I can say, if I had to do like a 1-line review of that book, I would just say, Michael, it's fucking horny.
Yeah.
That's all I'm gonna say.
He's
Really?
You want to talk about a very weird adaptation?
Weird, amazing. I love it. I'm there for it.
Yeah. We
It's
talk
great.
about Michael's dick way more than I was expecting them to talk about it,
Yeah.
which was
That's-
0 by the way.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, mentioning it at all was something I wasn't expecting hearing about. So.
Oh, and by the
Interesting.
way, for anybody who is curious, I'm going to link you to another channel really quick before we get started here. And this is a buddy of mine who does an amazing channel. And his name is the 80s Slasher Librarian. And he does audiobooks for rare horror books. That is a link I just dropped right there to the Halloween novelization that he reads. He puts in music, sound effects, the whole thing, and he does all the rare horror books, you know, the Halloween YA novels, the Friday the 13th, Halloween, Child's Play, adaptations from the films.
That's a great idea. Actually.
Jason X novels, you know, that stuff, the stuff that's like really hard to get your hands on. I'm actually going to work with him a little bit here in the future. We're going to do a live stream together soon on our book club, which we just dropped.
Ooh, I didn't even know about that.
We are going to be doing a book club starting probably next week.
Yeah.
Clown in the Cornfield, as everybody knows, will be our first book. But yeah, a lot of cool things to look forward to. And if you can't get a hold of these books, he'll read them to you. I got in free, but just signed up as a member.
Oh, Maya.
Maya, aren't you already a patron?
Yeah.
Because anybody who's a patron,
You don't have to do the members. We
No
put it
guts
on
to
the
do that.
Patreon.
no guts to do that.
Keggy, we're talking about the Halloween novelization.
Yeah, but I said the Jason X novelization.
Yeah.
So he
Oh.
That would be cool to read.
he did do the Jason X novelization, but there's also like I want to say there's 4 original Jason X novels that are set like post like Jason X.
That's so crazy to me.
So
I can
they're
see that.
insanely hard to get your
Expanding on that
hands
whole that universe, that time period. I can see that.
They all go for about like $250 a piece.
Hmm.
So they're stupid hard to get your hands on. But he has them, and I'm gonna read them that way. I'm gonna listen to him read them because I can't fucking spend $1,000 in books. I got kids. I got shit.
Indeed.
So the Halloween novelizations, yes, I have all 3 of those, the new ones. I actually have every Halloween book that there is, whether it's the YA novels that are like $500 a piece or whatever. But I bought them when they came out because I've been a Halloween fan my entire life. And as soon as those dropped, when I was like, I want to say those came out when I was like 14 or 15. So you're talking 25, 26 years ago. I got those, the Blair Witch YA novels, all 8 of those, all the Friday the 13th YA novels, the Nightmare on Elm Street YA novels. They're all like $100 to like $300 to $500 a piece. They're crazy now. But I'm so
I gotta
happy
re-get
that
those Blair Witch games that came up on what was it, PS1 back in the day?
No, the Blair Witch games were on the on PC. I have all 3 of them.
Yeah, I know. That's why I mentioned it. I gotta get my hands on
I got them at Big Lots.
Oh, all right.
Back in the day when Big Lots just became a thing. They'd taken over a company called Pick and Save, and it became Big Lots. And I went in there, and they had all 3 of them for $10, like together in a package set for $9.99, and I was like, sold.
How long was that after Blair Witch came out, or the games came out?
I want to say the games came out within a couple years because the popularity of the Blair Witch didn't really hold much.
Yeah.
In the way that you could make video games about them. But then we obviously had the resurgence, and we got the 2016 game, which I've played in both VR and in console.
That's gonna be fun on VR.
Those games that game's rad. I highly recommend it.
I have it. I never played it yet. I have such a backlog of games. It's crazy.
The last act is like super
terrifying.
Super trippy.
It's a really great game.
All right, we got Ross here. What's up, Ricardo, Selena, Jason, Kaylee? He's going for everybody here. He's got the whole crew up on the screen. We had this son of a bitch on the channel once, and it was a good time. He came on with Ricky, who is weirdly absent.
Yeah, what?
Ricky's always blowing up the comments. So, JT and I have been talking about doing a live stream together since before I was born, I think was when we started talking about this.
That's about right.
So, why don't you tell us a little bit about your channel and yourself, but make it like less than 10 seconds.
No, you're so mean to guess.
He knows I got the same humor. I'm just a lifetime horror fan, and honestly, it was interesting, Jason, when you said that you started watching. You saw Halloween at 5 years old. It was your first Halloween, your first horror movie. Is that true? Yeah, right.
Yeah. It's the same for you, right? 5 Halloween,
5 or 6.
5 or 6, and that's what me is too. I can't. I think it's 5 or 6. I can't really remember.
I'm thinking it might be 6 because my birthday's September, so it would have made sense being on Halloween that I would have been 6. So it might have been 6.
Yeah,
but I mean, it's still my top 3 films of all time. The Thing is my favorite film of all time, and started this channel in June. And I know I thank you all the time. Got a big inspiration for starting the channel, Jason, because I used to watch your shit all the time, as you know, but chat doesn't know. Now they know. 20 seconds. Maybe.
There we go. Well, I'm glad. It's funny, you know, I've definitely had, God, probably 30 people at this point contact me and be like, I started my channel because I watched your channel. And I'm like, I'm apologizing to everyone for your guys' channels. This is my fault. I apologize.
We'll take the apology.
Apologize for inspiring.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to unleash this onto the world, but here we are. Okay. So, well, I'm glad that you started your channel. I'm hoping you're having fun with it.
For sure.
You make videos like I used to before I met.
Yeah.
He slowed the channel down.
But it made it better, in my opinion. You got your wife on there with you. I mean, that's getting to talk about things you love the most, man. That's awesome.
Some will agree, some won't, and I don't really care on the latter. So, all right. So, as far as this is gonna go, so I asked a bunch of you, all of you who are here, to make your own lists so that you can participate. I know that Ricardo is the only one who said that he did, but I don't know if anybody else did. So did anyone else make a list besides Ricardo? I I sent out the
I did.
letter. Did anyone get the memo?
Yay.
I'm glad that you
Yeah.
did. But
Yeah.
You made like an intense list. You're like decades.
No, not by
centuries.
decades. I just made a video like a few weeks ago of the
Ah.
best, my favorite horror remakes post 2000. So like that part was already made. So it was like a
Gotcha.
half list.
I'm
Yeah.
hoping that this might make my list.
Yeah. Oh, we want to see it.
We
don't know when.
It's nowhere
Oh, nice.
near us, so there's nothing we can do. Maybe it might seem lame, but the 90s version and the new ones are both great to me. Which ones?
I think, are you talking, Maya, about like
Remakes
maybe
in
it?
general?
Oh, maybe it.
Oh, it, maybe.
As in Stephen King.
Oh,
It. I was
did I
like,
miss
what?
it?
It's in the beginning. It just says
Oh,
maybe.
maybe
it.
it.
Oh,
Got
maybe
it. I
it's
just thought that was
title.
a.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
got
what I
it.
thought too.
Wasn't those titles are tough.
Oh yeah.
Definitely. If you haven't made your list, I mean, you can make it pretty quick. It's not that complicated. I made mine today while I was taking care of dogs and clients and everything. I was just like, while also doing about 600 fucking other things. Okay, so what I would like to do first is I would like to talk about films that I personally do not consider remakes and why they will not be on my personal list. You can disagree with this and put it on your list all you want. But so we're going to kind of come out the gate on that. And the films that I have on that list are number 1, Evil Dead. So the Evil Dead remake that came out in 2013, because it ends with Ash saying groovy, in the credits. To me, that I taken that as that this is just another group of kids that came to the same cabin where Ash and them died. Now you could say that's from the first movie because this is more in line. Like if you look at the tone of the original Evil Dead and the remake, they're more in line with one another. But Ash wouldn't be alive, right? Because he dies at the end of the original. So that's a tough one. But I will say Evil Dead, to me, I definitely understand why it's a remake. But I've always seen it as like an in-universe or alternate reality sequel, so to speak.
Yeah.
I can see that. I've looked at it both ways. Because if it's Ash at the end, you can always argue it's Bruce Campbell just not playing Ash, just giving a little groovy at the end. So it's on my list. But I can see where you're coming from. How do you feel about Evil Dead 2 then? Do you consider that a sequel or
we'll get there?
Well, let's not get it. Yeah, we won't.
We'll get there. Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
Nor can I wait for that either. Suspiria is wonderful. It is on my list of just missed the list. I have Suspiria and I have Invasion of the Body Snatchers from 1978. Both are very close. I also love Body Snatchers from the 90s. But Suspiria just missed my list, but it's very, very good. It's just, I think
it was on mine.
Very slow.
Yeah, it could have been cut down by a
it can definitely
5 minutes.
Yeah, it can drag for sure. So its rewatchability isn't high for me.
Yeah.
But I do think it's really good. And also, okay, next up on my not thinking that it's a remake is The Town That Dreaded Sundown, which is a meta sequel. I see no other way about this one. I'm not arguing on this one. I'm right. You're wrong. The end.
I agree. I don't even care for the first one, the original, honestly. I like the remake better.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, it's boring as shit, the original.
I love slow movies too. I'm not knocking the movie by saying it's slow. I'm saying that
totally different.
Its rewatchability is down for me because
it's like April Fool's Day for me. Not the pacing, but like the rewatchability.
Oh, sure.
Because of knowing the twist, you know what I mean?
I don't watch April Fool's Day often for sure.
I don't either.
It does have the best cast of like any
Oh yeah, it's great.
horror
So many
movie ever to me.
like iconic little peoples.
And that sex scene.
Amber's here.
Hi, Amber.
Amber's
Hey,
gonna
Amber.
be like the head of our book club.
Ah,
Nice.
I'm
And
so excited.
hello, how are you?
Hello.
So Town That Dreaded Sundown. Next up, we have this is an obvious one, but I know some people consider this like a remake of sorts, which is Halloween 2018. This is obviously a sequel. There's I don't even know how to say anything else but that. And then also one that would 1,000% make my list if I thought it was a remake is Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 as a remake of Halloween 2 from 1981.
Oh, that made mine too.
The only thing
love
that
it, too.
the only thing that would like make that a sequel or a remake, I'm sorry, as opposed to a sequel, is the opening Halloween hospital sequence, right? Halloween 2 hospital sequence.
Mhm.
But that's a dream sequence, and it's more of just an homage to the original Halloween 2. So I could see the argument that it's like a remake of part 2, but it's not. It's really its own.
I would have never thought of it like as an option until you brought it up just now. Like putting
I
that
just
on a
because of
remake.
the hospital opening, I think some people
Yeah.
consider it a remake of the original Halloween 2.
It's just
But
its own thing so much.
I
Totally
love
its own
that. I love that film so
Mhm.
much. It
I
would
love
definitely-
H2 too. Everyone hates that movie.
Not everybody.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of people that I know.
It's been
that
coming
will-
up more too. Like especially like I know you guys loved Ends, but like with the split, just between everybody in the horror community, I feel like Rob Zombie's films are getting reappraised and liked a little bit more. I don't know about H2 how much, but I do hear more people liking it like with each year that goes on.
I can honestly say, with like no shit, like I walked out of Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 in the theaters when I went to see it, and I fucking loved it. But like, I came out of it being like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Like, I know how this is gonna go.
Yeah.
I know how this is gonna go.
You always
People are
know
gonna
when you
fucking
like
hate
a
it.
movie that's mostly gets backlash, extreme backlash. I
It would have
liked
been
too, though, the first time. I loved it.
It would have
The
been
horse.
funny to have a channel then. It would have been interesting to have a channel when Halloween 2 came out. I didn't have a channel at that point. That was 2009. And man, I probably had lost subscribers over that.
Maybe.
We probably lost subscribers over Halloween Ends.
Probably.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, people got so crazy over that. People sending death threats and stuff to people who liked the movie or didn't like the movie. It shows the beautiful side of humanity.
See,
for sure.
So we got Ends is one of my favorite. I love how brutal H2 was.
That's what I love about it.
We got people. We got people. And so that's like the main films that I don't consider to be. And then of course something like some people also consider The Thing prequel like a remake.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
no,
it's a prequel. It's obviously a prequel. It literally leads into the 82 Carpenter films. So I don't know. How do you consider that a fucking remake? So that's that.
Yeah.
So I think what we should do first, for fun, let's do the worst.
The worst?
Yeah.
Wait, were we supposed to come up with the worst? I
don't
can think
have
of
to.
some.
Yeah, I can think them right off the top of my head. Some of them. Black
I
Christmas 2019.
I got some. So let's go in order. So if anybody's got some here, let's list them. Start throwing out your least favorite remakes in the comments, and everyone be nice. We all got different opinions. There's gonna be people who hate shit that you love. It's okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So the first one I'm gonna throw out that was probably the most offensive remake I ever watched because of the subject matter. Which, how often do I get offended?
Never.
0. One time in my life. So it's that, and also the fact that it literally has zero to do with the original in any way, and you're like, why is this called Black Christmas? Or Black Christmas. So there you go. I screwed it up. There you go. Black Christmas 2019. The biggest piece of shit I probably ever saw in theaters outside of the next one I'm going to say. But did you see Black Christmas 2019?
It was insulting.
Yeah.
It was absolutely terrible. And then they threw that The Exorcist 3 rip-off jump scare out of it too. It has more link to Exorcist 3 because of that jump scare than it does to Black Christmas. I mean, it had some homages, like very tiny ones, right? I don't even remember. But the whole thing just being, it's the message. There's no story.
Yes.
And it's pounded over your head. It's insulting.
It is never been released. If you ever get it, I don't know if you've ever watched my review on it, but if you ever get a chance, you should check it out because I was so fucking taken aback when I got out.
I probably have.
Because I talked about how I was like, dude, it felt kind of ironic because my kids never go to the theater with me, and Jen, the mother of my kids, she dropped me off at the theater with my kids were there in the car, and I kissed them goodbye and was like, I'll see you after the movie, and I was being super dad and super cutesy with my kids and this and that, and then I went into the theater and
positive stuff.
Beat over the head with how men are garbage.
Yep.
That our most primitive nature is we basically want to rape women, and this gives us the carte blanche to just do what is really in us. Yeah. And it's what the fuck kind of movie am I watching right now?
I haven't seen this movie, but I feel like you talk about it often enough that I know it a little bit. But yeah, and I never saw the remake, so
yeah, you're not missing anything.
Yeah,
at all.
No, I'm telling you, legitimately, the plot of the story, what happens is there's this black ooze that once it gets into guys, it activates their most primitive nature to bring out who they really are, and all men at their core are rapists.
Yeah.
And I just was watching what the fuck is happening?
What were they thinking with that? I have no idea.
So yeah, how that's tied to Billy up in the fucking attic and all that stuff. I guess Billy's a rapist. I don't know.
I actually like the 06 remake.
Oh, I do too.
Yeah. That this was just there's nothing there. Like I said, there's no story besides the sludgy shit and the stuff you don't care about. It's just
and it sucks too because they did an homage to Exorcist 3, which is really weird. I was like, please don't do that in this movie. And then number 2, I love Imogen Poots, and she stars in that movie, and I was like, no, Imogen, what are you doing? No, you can't get out of this movie. Why are you doing this to me?
Get out while you still can.
Yeah. You didn't know 100%. Black Christmas actually deserves the title of Toxic Wolf movie. Agreed. It's the only movie I can think of where I would legitimately say that is accurate. That is the most toxic fucking garbage movie I've ever watched in my life. Okay.
Yeah, it's bad. That's the only one, when I try to think of movies I can't come up with any silver linings for at all. That's always the freshest on my mind because it just came out in 19.
I think what's offensive about the movie even more so to me is that I can come up with good things because the film is super well shot.
Oh, well, yeah. Right? Besides,
it looks great. Stuff. Right. So, it has the budget, it has the competency. It's a well-made film. Yeah. So that's you guys got the money.
Yeah. Look what they wasted.
Right. You got the crew, and this is the movie you made.
Yeah.
What kind of garbage is this? Which one did you say? Because I think it was my next one.
I was going to say Black Christmas was my first one.
No, I'm pretty sure you said another one. I think you said The Fog.
Oh yeah, The Fog remake. The Fog remake. Yeah, I'll stay with one. But all those, there's a few in the 2000s that I really like, but a lot of them are not good for me. I don't want to go down a list in case it's on other people. So, but yeah,
sure, no, for sure. Blood the Last Vampire. Is that's like she says that it's an anime that was made into a film and it was terrible, huh? I didn't see it. I'm not familiar with it. I know the title. I didn't know that was like a remake of anything, but I never saw the film. I saw The Fog in theaters as well, of course. I have not seen it since it came out. I want to say it came out in 2005. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I think you're right. I haven't seen it since either.
And I own it. I bought it for like $1 at a store because I wanted to have like the complete set, right? Like I have The Fog and I have to have The Fog remake. And one day I intend to, watch it and review it on the channel because I think it'll be fun. And now, Ricardo, are you listing your least favorite now?
He said he ordered them from least to best.
Oh, so his 10 is like
the worst.
10 is
least favorite.
His least favorite of his favorites. So he doesn't have like a least favorites list. So that's fine. I just don't want to make sure because he's saying that I know a lot of people love The Last House on the Left remake, which I haven't seen in a long time, but I remember it being far superior to the original for me. I didn't like the original.
I like the remake.
And he also said House of Wax, which I also really enjoy, but Amber disagrees with us and
I don't
says
think it
that it
sucks, but I like it, but I wouldn't put it on. It wouldn't make my list.
It wouldn't make my list, but we did just watch it. I've seen it a few times, but I just showed it to Kaylee this week.
I was like,
I really enjoy the hell out of it.
Hadn't seen it before, which is kind of shocking because I feel like it's such a. I guess it's not that shocking. I just had never watched it, and I put it on my list because I honestly was having. I think I came up with 11 of these like horror remakes, but I was like, I'll put it on, even though I've never seen the original.
Yeah,
I thought it was really cool.
Oh, you don't need to see.
I like the vibe.
No, not at all. What,
the vibe reminds me of like kind of like Halloween 3 a little with Tourist Trap.
Tourist Trap is the most like
both
it for
of
sure.
those.
I love Tourist Trap.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and as far as the remake list goes, like you don't need to have seen the original to say that this thing is your favorite remake. Like, it's not a comparison. It's just this happens to be a remake, and I love it. Now, I'm definitely gonna have a couple things on here that I'm gonna say like one of the reasons it's on here is because of how superior it is to the original, which gives it that bump. Where I thought like, and that's that expectation, right? You go in with a movie you don't like, and then you watch a remake, and you're like, holy shit, this is actually great. Like I was expecting it to be kind of like the original and be shit. So that can, heighten your enjoyment of a remake as well.
Absolutely, especially if you weren't expecting anything,
right? Like same with a sequel. You can, I watched Killjoy 3 after having watched the first two and being like, Killjoy 1 and 2 are horrendously awful, and Killjoy 3 fucking rules.
Really?
Killjoy 3, 4, and 5 are great.
I've only saw the first one of the Killjoy.
Oh,
series.
dude! Like
I gotta watch the rest of them now.
The bump in quality, you will be fucking shocked at the bump in quality between 1 and 2 to 3 through 5. Like I don't know what happened. I don't know if they just took it and were like, we're actually gonna try and we're gonna put money into it now out of nowhere. And they got a new director. And he directs all 3 of them. I consider them to be like the Killjoy trilogy. I think they're great. I'm going to do them. We're going to do them on the channel at some point.
I got to check them out then.
Definitely the biggest jump in quality outside of, probably the biggest jump in quality I've ever seen in a sequel, especially like a third, because 1 and 2 are terrible. But then another one would be Boogeyman. Boogeyman 2 is awesome.
I don't think
you haven't seen Boogeyman 2. No. Like, remember I want to say it came out in like 2000, and I think it's 2005 as well, same year as the Fog remake. There was a Boogeyman movie. Remember that was like
okay, yeah. There's a sequel.
There's 2 sequels. Wow. There's a 2 and a 3.
Yeah, I didn't know
that. 2 is awesome. It's fucking gory and violent and awesome. The original's PG-13, and I think the third one's PG-13. But for some reason, there's
just
this like
that one they went
hardcore
out.
R-rated slasher in the middle.
Wow. Yeah, I
So
gotta
definitely
look.
check it out. So,
Nice.
anyways, let's see, we got some other stuff here. Yeah, I like I said, good cast. Imogen Poots is great, but the movie's terrible. This we did watch all three of these within the last few months. I'd seen them all before, but I was showing McKaylee.
I
Yeah.
haven't seen the remake in forever.
The remake is not good. It's bland, like he said.
Yeah.
It's well shot. The acting is
cool.
okay. The house is cool. Yeah.
We liked that.
Yeah. I just remember being very like what they did, which is interesting with the remake, is everything that everyone remembers about the original when a stranger calls is the opening.
First 15 minutes, yeah.
Right. They turned the first 15 minutes of the original into the entire film.
Yeah.
That's right. I remember a little now of the remake. I haven't seen it, I don't think, since it came out because it wasn't worth checking out again.
Yes. I really enjoyed the sequel to When a Stranger Calls, When a Stranger Calls Back, which came out in the early 90s or late 80s with Carol Kane coming back. That's a good movie. If anybody who's seen that, anytime they come home, they're always looking for some guy who's painted into their wall.
Oh my god.
That is clever.
Yeah.
Just
Scary.
paint yourself. It's like Arrested Development with David Cross's character.
I would say more like PETA from the Hunger Games.
That's so
Okay.
funny.
Yeah.
The first thing I thought of was Jenna Marbles because she like paints herself into the wall at one point as a YouTuber.
Yeah.
If anybody likes Jenna Marbles, she doesn't make videos anymore, but she's got some great stuff.
Yeah,
she's like an OG YouTuber.
Yeah, she got like canceled, right?
She did,
So
unfortunately, and
it was
I
over
miss her.
nothing from what I remember.
Usually, most of the time, it is.
Yeah, most people are fucking stupid. Okay, Ricardo says Last House on the Left. This is his list from 10 to 1 in order of his
That's
favorites.
what I'm assuming. Yeah.
So The Last of Us. I'm in there in my head. The Last House on the Left. You know, the only thing I remember about this movie is that it's better than the original for sure, and that there is this really rad, and I think this might only be in the like unrated cut. There's this really awesome microwave kill as the movie closes. Like it's literally the last thing you see. It goes to credits.
You were telling me about
and
that.
I was like, oh, that was hardcore.
Yeah.
Like,
I like the remake a lot. Actually, I like it better than the original also.
This is
same with Spit on Your Grave too. I like that better too than the original.
I like the remake better than the original.
Yeah, for some reason they did a lot better job with that subgenre with the remakes.
I like all the I Spit on Your Graves except for Deja Vu, which
Deja Vu was terrible.
Fucking
2 hours plus
2.5 hours. 2.5 hours of
it was
garbage.
So hard to sit through.
What's really sad is that the director of BC
Black
Christmas did a movie, Always Shine. Oh, that's a Shudder original movie. I know this is not a remake, but The Last Exorcism. Hey, Amber, come on now.
Say, I know you like that movie.
That's my favorite fucking film. Amber's really going for my throat tonight. You're out of the book club, Amber. Just kidding.
No.
The anime was amazing. Okay, so this is kind of like the last Airbender movie that M. Night Shyamalan made.
Oh my god.
Oh god. That's a big shame.
Okay, the worst remake I've seen is Silent Hill Revelations, which is a remake of the third game. Oh, okay. So you're saying it's a remake of a video game. I mean, if we're doing my favorite remakes, then it's The Last of Us TV series. There you go. Number one, good night.
That's for sure number one.
I gotta finish.
I saw Revelation in theaters. I don't remember hating it, but I do remember it kind of felt like that, like, you know what kind of reminded me of? Kind of reminded me of like Jeepers Creepers 3 in like that it was like green screened to fucking back. And you're like
so much in 3 green screen of that.
Yeah,
so bad.
I haven't played the Silent Hill games, so I can't compare I've just seen the films.
I love 2 and 3. Silent Hill 2 and 3 are great.
Yeah. I haven't played any Silent Hill except for Downpour.
I don't think I've
yeah,
played that.
I like this movie. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
I
I like the remake of My Bloody Valentine. I'm not a big fan of the original. Like I like it. It's just not like in my top slashers of the '80s list.
Mm.
He's off the channel.
I'm
Just kidding. Just kidding.
gone. I'm gone.
I'm gone.
Banished, man. On for 40 minutes once, and I'm banished.
Maya's
Oh yeah.
You know what helps it though is with the kills, that the uncut kills when they were finally released. Before I grew up seeing just the regular version, and it just lacked in the kill department so much that it took down my overall enjoyment of it. I gotta rewatch like again it with the kills like intact in it, and then judge it again. I haven't done it on the channel yet, so that's probably what I'll do. See how I.
All right, Amber. You must not have a sense of humor because the Wicker Man remake is like the funniest fucking movie.
It is.
It's so fucking good. It's so funny. It's so awful, but I love it so much. Like when that cop pulls them over in the beginning and just like catches on fire.
Dude, everything in that when he punches he comes in,
bear,
punches that woman right in the face and knocks her out, and you see the punch coming for like a long time beforehand. He just has his hand cocked and like the little bar thing, and he just goes and just knocks that woman out, and then he kicks what's her name?
It's been I have not seen it.
I can't think of her name. Lily Sobieski or Lily.
Oh,
yeah, kicks her into the wall. He's always over the top for the most part.
She fucked her career up by sucking a dick on camera.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
after Vincent I wondered what happened to her.
Yeah, Vincent Gallo, who directed Buffalo 66, he did some artsy movie with her, and he was like, well, why don't you just suck my dick for real? I'm sure that was like a director's note, right? Like,
of course,
just for art. Maybe you should just really blow me.
It's for art and for science.
Oh, Amber, I'm kidding. You can hate whatever you want. Oh, that is Chloe. That's right. I'm sorry.
Chloe.
Lily Soblieski. She was in Joyride. Yeah.
And
mixing
House of Glass.
Thank you for correcting me on that.
Well, I mean, Chloe Sevigny started in Kids, so I mean, it's not too much of a departure from where she started.
Sure. Yeah. God, Kids. I reviewed Bully on the channel. Same director.
Yeah,
but never Kids. I haven't seen Kids since the 90s, since it came out. I'll never forget it though. I think I still remember every fucking thing about that film.
No, that's something that you don't forget easily at all, that movie.
I don't know how that movie got made without being like labeled child pornography. Like,
yeah, basically.
Because isn't there like naked like 12, 13-year-old girls in that movie who just had sex?
Yeah, I don't remember how naked they were. I mean, it's been a long time.
I'm pretty sure you see their tits, and I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's about like generation, like the dangerous generation of kids going out and partying and HIV, and this one girl gets AIDS or HIV at the beginning of the movie, and she's like only had sex one single time in her life, and her friend who's like very promiscuous gets tested, and she has nothing. And then she's going out, she's trying to find the guy who she had sex with to tell him, like, you have HIV, you gave it to me. And while she's doing this, he's like out in town fucking everybody.
Yeah.
And then the movie ends with like she's at a party, she gets like really wasted, falls asleep, and this guy named Casper fucks her while she's sleeping. And she's like trying, like while she's like waking up, she's like, no, don't. He thinks like he's like, no, it's okay. And then I'll never forget, because the movie ends on Casper. He's like, because they're like interviewing them, and he's like, "Fucking is my life."
The
movie like ends on that, and I remember like I'll never forget it. I saw that movie when I was like 13, and it stuck with me to this day. I've never fucking forgot. It was like
it's very effective. Like I said, you don't forget that movie. And that's why Casper, because she was afraid at the end because Casper just slept with somebody who the main dude slept with. So he like supposedly got infected, and then he went to rape Savigny at the end, something like that. But like,
No,
yeah, it's like
he's raping the girl who has AIDS.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's right. Yes,
that's what it is. But I mean, good. I'm fucking glad he's gonna get HIV from raping.
He's a piece of
Fuck
shit.
That
That actor died, I think.
He did. He killed himself right after that movie.
Yep,
yeah.
It just keeps getting worse.
Yeah.
Everything you guys say.
I know. Okay, let's knock out these really quick. The other ones I would have, It's Alive. One of the most piece of shit remakes you could ever watch. I don't know if the budget of that movie was $5 or less.
I don't even think I saw the remake just to not see it.
Don't. I never bothered with the Martyrs remake. I have no opinion on it. Nor did I with the Cabin Fever remake.
I was just going to mention Martyrs. It was a terrible compared to the original, of course. But not even a good movie on its own. Like if it was just it's the first one, not a remake, it's not that good. Not good at all.
Ricardo, just an FYI, we haven't even started our actual list yet. Just so you know, but you can continue to keep going if you want. Next up, I'd have Prom Night as another abysmal, dreadful remake. I don't even like the original that much, but the remake is somehow 1,000 times worse.
I'm not a big fan of the original, and I'm not a big fan at all of the remake. That was on my my list.
What's crazy about that movie is that Idris Elba stars in that film, which is just wild to me to even think about.
Yeah. I do remember Brittany Snow was in it. Brittany Snow was in it too. That was the first time I ever saw her. And then I saw her in Would You Rather, and now look, she was in X, which I adore. X and Pearl.
Yeah. Prom Night 2 is the only good one. I disagree. Prom Night 3. I actually like Prom Night 4 as well. Okay. I don't think it's great or anything, but I enjoy it. But
I like them all better than the original, actually. I
100%.
really don't care for the original.
I don't either. But I like Last Kiss, man. I enjoy it. But Prom Night 2, Hello Mary Lou, Prom Night 2 rules for sure. Definitely the best of the franchise. Then Day of the Dead. Awful, dreadful film. Nick Cannon is not hilarious. Okay, Dave Chappelle's kid. Terrible movie. If you haven't seen it, please never bother.
It's bad. And Day of the Dead's my second favorite zombie movie. So just insult to injury there with the
easily my top 5 zombie movies. And it is the best Romero zombie film for sure.
No,
for me.
For me as well. It's coming up too. That like people always said Dawn. I never liked Dawn as much as Night and Day. But now I hear more people coming up saying that they're Day fans and they prefer Day, which is good to hear. I feel like Dawn is a little comedic even at times. Like it has a little bit of comedy in there. I mean, it does in Day too. Yeah, it has Day also does, but nowhere near as much. It's a much darker movie, and it just works so much better.
Dawn is like almost a parody. Like Dawn is.
Yeah, I think Argento working on it had something to do with it. Just the clash of, the Italians and stuff working on it, and the Americans. Look at Troll 2.
Yeah, I mean, I love Dawn. I always
I love it too.
But no, Day is superior. It's the darkest, it's the goriest, it's the most gritty, the most realistic.
Savini's effects are some of my favorite effects work in a movie.
Ever.
And the ending of that, so good.
Super good. I agree that the ending of the original Cabin Fever is hilarious. I actually find the entire original Cabin Fever to be hilarious. I think that whole movie is fucking funny. Like it. And I don't know why. It was like, okay, really funny quick story on Cabin Fever. I worked at Walmart at the time and I wasn't making much money, so I wasn't going to the theater as much as I would have liked to. So I had to be really selective over what I saw back then. Not like now where I'm fucking rolling in the dough.
I knew you were saying something like that.
But I was working at Walmart and Cabin Fever had come out and it was not being well received. And, you know, as I said, I couldn't get to see it because I just didn't have the money. We got a copy of it really quick. They released it on DVD pretty quick because it bombed pretty fast. And there was a copy of it like right by me where I was working in Walmart. And I'm not kidding you. Almost every single person who walked by that movie and saw it out loud had to detest the film to like anyone who would listen.
Mm-hmm.
It was incredible. I'm literally talking thousands of times. I heard people being like, "Oh, fucking worst movie I ever saw in my life. Oh my God, Cabin, if you ever see that piece of shit." And so like I got this reputation, and finally it's happened so much. I was like, I gotta see this fucking movie.
Yeah.
Oh, of
This
course.
is crazy. How bad can it be? And I went home and I watched it, and I was like 5 minutes in, and I'm like, oh, this movie's gonna be awesome. And I know that I'm gonna be that person that's fucking like on the outside fringe on this one, and I don't give a shit. And I laughed the entire time. I had such a good time, and I was like, people are morons. This movie.
Oh, they are. I really like Cabin Fever. Is it a great movie? No, but it is funny as shit. Like, how do you not enjoy Eli Roth's humor? He definitely had some good humor in his movies, which I think a lot of people don't like. Like, well, I know they don't like, but I think that's a big reason. It's hard for horror comedies, like to find their audience, especially with Roth, who has not the best reputation among horror fans, which I don't get why. I love Roth.
I don't know why he's hated as well. I'll never understand that. Look at Amber. We were miserable together. That's good. And finally, on this list, I will throw in, outside of the Tom Savini 1990 remake, any other Night of the Living remake that they've ever made. Night of the Living Dead remakes. They've made like 6 of them. They're all abysmal. Do not watch them for any reason. And I do own every one of them, unfortunately, because I'm a fucking sadist. I even own Day of the Dead 2 Contagium. I really hate myself. I really hate my life. Okay, so time to get into the...
I'm shocked that you didn't mention the Slumber Party Massacre remake.
I still haven't seen it.
It's not good.
Yeah.
I figured not.
I just thought
I'll still watch it
sure.
eventually, but like always, but not on the top list of anything that I want to watch. Like now.
No, I mean as far as like the most horrible.
Oh no, I'm just
Yeah.
talking about seeing it in general. But
Yeah,
that
yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
make me feel better about it at all.
It's awful. And the
Nice
Child's
Play
Play
done.
remake, I'm surprised you didn't mention that.
No, I do not.
I
like
hate
that
the
either.
Child's Play remake for sure.
I?
Definitely one of my least favorite experiences I've had in a theater. I didn't
It's one
bring
of
it
my
up.
favorite franchises.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, and just seeing everything Mancini touches with Child's Play is gold. And then just, I mean, technically it has nothing to do Mancini or anything, so I don't count it even. But just having that as a blemish, like in the franchise, sucks.
Yeah.
If you guys want to see a good remake of the Child's Play remake that is a trillion times better, Megan.
Yes.
Megan is the same film,
Yes.
but good.
Yeah.
And it took me
and-
two watches to like Megan, because I did not care for the second half on my first watch. Then I rewatched it right before I had Amy Donald on, and it went up a lot. Like I was like, yo, must have just not been in the right mind state the first time, because then the second I was like, yeah, this is pretty funny. There's some cool stuff in this movie. Like I like everything about it now. I don't really have a lot of negatives.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of it.
Sure, but yeah, it's great.
I don't know if I love all of Roth's films, but I really respect
I
him.
don't love all of them.
I can't wait for Thanksgiving, which he's currently filming. Thank God,
finally doing that. That's going to be awesome.
I'm probably one of the only people that really enjoyed the Death Wish remake.
I didn't even see that one.
I like it. And there you go. Carter knows what's up. Okay, so let's do our top 10 favorite remakes. I will start because I'm egotistical. I will start with one that Kaylee is going to be upset that she didn't come up with. Now, some people will more argue that this is like action, but this is a remake of an original horror film, and it is awesome. It defined the 90s and is one of the coolest films of that era. And this is Brandon Fraser's The Mummy.
Oh,
Yep.
you're right. It is.
Wow, I
a
would have never thought of that.
remake.
I would have never remembered that movie.
Yeah, I
It
love this
is.
film. I love the sequel, Mummy
Yeah.
Returns. I think they're both great. The third one I didn't like much, and then the Scorpion King has like fucking 5 sequels. But
Yeah.
it's all about the original 2.
Yeah.
They're both fucking great. Everything about this movie is super fun. Benny is hilarious.
Oh my gosh.
Her brother, what's her brother's name?
Jonathan?
Jonathan.
Yeah.
Jonathan's hilarious.
Yes.
Brendan Fraser's great
Yeah.
as like the Indiana Jones
Mhm.
kind of Han Solo. You know, it actually kind of reminds me of Nathan Fillion in not Serenity, the fucking TV show. Now I'm like Firefly. Thank you. I was like Firefly.
Firefox, the browser.
Firefox.
No, Firefox with Angelina Jolie.
Oh.
Or no, that's Foxfire. Firefox is the one with Clint Eastwood. Sorry.
A lot of titles are Fox and Fly and Fire in them.
Yeah. So yeah, The Mummy is just great, and I also like The Mummy as well. That's a good one. Whatever The Mummy. I haven't seen that one, but it sounds good.
I haven't seen The Mummy in so long. I got to rewatch that now that you mentioned it.
Oh, it's so good.
It's definitely was like a favorite of mine since childhood.
Oh
and
yeah,
I think a lot of people. Yeah, like the joke that I hear, which is like 100% true, is like The Mummy is one of those movies that like causes like a bisexual awakening because like the whole like main cast, there's so many attractive people. Yeah, Rachel Weisz. Yes, she's so beautiful in this movie, and she's just so sweet. Her character's so cute. I was like, I'm a librarian when she's all drunk and like, it's just so good. And honestly, I mean, it's not crazy hardcore horror, but there's some really good stuff like with The Mummy. You know, like whenever he's like his face is like all messed up.
Sure.
And
the CGI.
Yeah, like when yeah. Oh, it is.
But
I love it.
And shout out to the Mummy ride at Universal Studios.
Oh my God.
It's actually pretty cool.
It's my favorite ride.
Oh, nice.
It's great.
Mummy ride, sweet.
Yeah, it goes like Kaylee's saying, it goes both ways.
It does. It goes forward and it goes back.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
You got to keep in theme with the movie.
Yeah.
And
every detail.
I guess I'll also mention, unfortunately, the only bad Tom Cruise movie I've ever watched in my life is The Mummy that he made. Still can't believe how bad that movie was. Shocking. He never makes bad movies. I don't get the fuck was happening there. And hilariously, that was the movie that was supposed to launch a major MCU type franchise called The Dark Universe.
Yeah, monsters.
And they'd cast the whole thing like Russell Crowe as Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and freaking Johnny Depp is like the Invisible Man or something. Benicio del Toro, like they had this. You can find the picture of like all of them together, like ready for their roles. And the Mummy bombed so hard they canceled everything.
Yeah, that's crazy, especially like with casting and stuff. Like
I think I'm off on who was playing what, but I know those are people who were in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think Johnny Depp was not the Invisible Man.
Something like
I don't know who was.
I'm
who.
super bummed that Ryan Gosling is the Ryan Gosling Wolfman movie is no longer being helmed by Lee Winnell.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so bummed about that.
Yeah, I love everything that Winnell has done.
What do you got
for number 10? I have.
We're not doing them in order.
Yeah, all right. That's what I'm at. No, I won't, because mine's all over the place. But I'll throw this one out just because I just rewatched the original the other day, and The Hills Have Eyes from 2006.
Okay. I haven't seen.
I don't know if we're
remake.
supposed to also announce if our lists cross over.
We should.
Yeah, I guess then we'll just talk about it then, like when the last.
Yeah, because you go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's a great remake. I don't like it as much as the original.
Mm.
I feel like it's a lot more raw feeling, kind of like that raw feeling you get like with Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like that
Sure.
just grittiness to it, and it's a lot more effective, like the violence and stuff like that in the original for some reason for me. But they did a great job with the remake, and especially having why can't I think of his name? The Pluto,
Oh,
the
sure.
actor's
Michael
name.
Berryman.
Yeah, having him back and stuff. Just cool to see him. I feel like they went a little overboard with like how like mutated they are. Like, isn't there's that one that like has the big ass head and a wheelchair in the remake? They went a little over the top with like how grotesque like these things look, but it still makes sense for like being a nuclear testing site. I just kind of like how they handled it more in Craven's original. But yeah, it's a good remake.
Yeah, I also have it on my list. So The Hills Have Eyes is a movie I don't like at all. I reviewed it on the channel, not a fan of it. And so when I went in, this is one of the movies, this is what I'm talking about, where I went into it being like, I didn't like the original, so I expected to not like this.
Yeah.
Right. And I think it was when now Kaylee hasn't seen it. But the scene in the outhouse is what I'll say. Since I don't want to ruin it, but how graphic that was.
Oh yeah.
And like how gnarly the like mutated hillbillies were. Like I see, for me, I'm the opposite. I love how over the top insane the effects are and like the grotesque nature of these villains are. I don't like the original because they just look like hillbillies. Like this one is like they legit look like their DNA was fucking twisted by nuclear, you know.
Oh yeah, sure.
So
especially the one in the wheelchair, I can't think of it. That's like the biggest problem for me, like with the mutants. It's just that one in that with the giant ass head. Something about it, it's just like I don't like how this looks like. But that's pretty much it. I just prefer the original.
Yeah. So Kaylee,
first
one for you. I'm sure a lot of yours will end up on my list as well. But,
yeah.
What do you got?
Well, I'm gonna say I actually did put Suspiria on my list.
Okay.
I think it's a wonderful remake. I of course love the original. But I'm a huge fan of the music in this. I think that's like a big part of why I really like it. I think Tom York does such a great job with the soundtrack.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know. It's really beautiful and freaky, and I just thought it was great. And it wasn't too slow for me. I like the pacing in it. Or not that you were saying it was too slow, but you know, I like the pacing. It works for me, and I feel like it still has rewatchability for me.
To be fair, I saw it in theaters, and I have not seen it since. So I'll give it another shot, and I loved it. It just felt like something I was like, oh, whoa, this is really long. And I was like, I don't know how much. And I haven't rewatched it since. So that's the rewatchability. It hasn't made me want to go back and watch it.
I can definitely see your side of it, Jason, with it could have been cut, like for sure. But it doesn't bother me on the watches, like Haley said. Like it's on my list. I love Suspiria 2018.
Maya, hilariously enough, I just showed Kaylee Return to Oz for the first time a couple days ago. I'm a massive fan of it. I think it's one of
super cool,
the best sequels ever, and I can't say enough good about it. It's a genuine horror film.
Yeah,
and it's unfortunate that the director never did another thing.
Oh, sure, yeah. When you told me that was the only thing he did, I was like, what? Could have been so many cool stuff.
It didn't do well. It was not well
surprise
received
me. But I thought it was rad.
I'm sure a bunch of parents were super pissed off when they went home and their kids were crippled.
They just ruined for life completely.
Yeah. They're like, thanks. Do we get a voucher for the fucking therapy sessions?
Right.
If not, do we at least get a lollipop at least? Something?
Yeah. Oh my God. Is that a chicken? I know. I
That's
was
so good.
cracking up. I was
That's
like,
so
what is
good.
happening?
Have you seen it, Return to Oz?
I have not.
Oh,
You
it's
should check it out.
excellent, man.
I got
It's
it.
great.
Yeah, I make mental notes whenever I'm on streams and people are talking about anything, so that way I'd be like, all right, I got a few movies now that are on my radar to rewatch or watch.
It's super,
Mhm.
super dark. It's nothing like Wizard of Oz.
So don't let my daughter watch it. You're saying
No
she likes the
music.
Wizard of Oz.
There's no musical
Yeah,
aspects.
I mean, it's
just
PG.
It's
So, but it's
scary.
scary
for kids.
for young kids.
Yeah, I can
too,
imagine.
It would be
I
like
can picture where it goes.
Because, like, you know, Disney went through this really cool era in like the 70s and 80s where they were doing super dark movies like Something Wicked This Way Comes and The Black
Yeah.
Hole. And, like, you know, they just had this like onslaught of like really dark, adult driven, horror-esque movies for kids. And parents were not having it.
they're like, nope.
I don't know who was in charge, but there you go. I love how the guy with the big glasses becomes a baddie. I agree. I remember the nerdy guy becomes the hero.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool as well. Okay. And next up, right, for me?
Yep.
Okay. Since, let's see. Okay, another one I can pretty much guarantee is on either of your lists, mostly because I think Kaylee's probably never seen it. Maybe she has. We'll see. This one really surprised me because it is PG-13. I had not seen the original. I have now, since it stars fucking Harry Potter himself, Daniel Radcliffe. And this was before he was taking a lot of really cool roles like he does now. I think he's great. But at that time, it was just coming out of Harry Potter, right? And this is The Woman in Black.
Mm.
Woman in Black.
Yeah, I have seen this.
This is a really, really cool movie that really surprised me when I had originally watched it in theaters. Like, it's this really, I think it's because it's PG-13, I expected it to not be as dark as it was.
Mm.
And it just had this really cool gothic, dark feel to it. And my kids are calling me, and I can't ignore them just in case.
Yeah.
But I really enjoy the hell out of that movie, and I can't say enough good about it.
I remember really liking it. I haven't seen it, I don't think, since, I don't want to say since it came out, but maybe I've seen it once after that. But since then, but
Yeah,
it was good.
The sequel to it is, it's okay. I think
I don't know if I ever saw it.
I think it's called like Angel of Death, Women in Black 2, Angel of Death, or something.
I haven't
like
seen the sequel, but I saw it actually when it came out in theaters, and I liked it quite a bit. I, like you said, the gothic feel. Like, I think it had a really good atmosphere, but
Really
I
great
don't
atmosphere.
remember a ton of it, so it would be a really good one to rewatch.
Yeah, for me too.
Mm-hmm.
I agree that Elijah Wood is good in Sin City because that movie fucking rules.
Yes. I haven't seen that in forever either, man. There's so many
Yeah,
freaking movies.
The sequel to that was definitely one of the biggest disappointments of all time for me.
Oh yeah, no, that was not good.
A Dame to Kill For. So go ahead. Hello, ladies. I'm on a live stream. What's up?
Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
I told us to call you because we were annoying her because we were being so silly.
Well, now you're annoying me. Just kidding. The guy that we have on the live stream with us actually sold his daughter to be here. So
Yes,
I
yes.
can't be a hypocrite now and ignore him for my daughters. Okay. Well, I'll call you after. Okay. I love you.
Okay.
Bye. All right. What's up next for you?
This is an interesting one, but it leads into a point that I have with remakes that I say. Piranha 3D.
Oh, great movie.
2010.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
you see how just constantly the remakes just doesn't stop. Like ever since, especially in the 2000s when it got big, but it's still everywhere. If they need to remake movies that badly, Joe Dante's Piranha is not a good movie. I don't care for it.
No.
Take movies like that didn't do well because they weren't executed well, or they didn't have a budget, or anything like that, but had good premises.
Yes.
Take that and remake them and make them better. And that's exactly what they did with Piranha. like so much better in every way from Joe Dante's original. Because that's a movie, and as much as I love practical effects, that's when you CGI go nuts, like just go completely crazy with it. And they just Alexander, is it Aja? His last name?
Yeah,
I never.
Aja.
I
No,
say
you're
Aya, Aja, Aha, whatever.
Mhm.
He just did a phenomenal job with that. Like,
Yeah.
absolutely, just such a fun movie, and I enjoy the hell out of it every time I see it.
I'm still waiting on a remake of Piranha 2: The Spawning
Yeah,
with flying piranha.
that would be fun. Flying Piranha.
Supposedly directed by James Cameron, but that is his credited first film he ever directed. But he claims
Interesting.
that they only used his name so that they could sell it as an American directed film. And he was more of like on set, but wasn't in charge. And after having seen every film he's ever made, I agree he did not make that movie. There's no way the guy who made Terminator made that film. It's just not possible. So
yeah, you can.
Terminator is his
tell.
directorial debut, and arguably the greatest directorial debut of all time. So yes. Anyway, yeah, Piranha 3D is great. Saw both in theaters. The 3 double D and 3D.
Double D is fun too.
Double D's okay. It was definitely
fun.
let down to a lesser extent, but yeah, this was written by Marcus Dunson and Patrick Melton, who I'm a big fan of. I've always championed their films, from The Collector, The Collected. Well, no, The Collected is supposed to be the new one. There's The Collector, The Collection, and hopefully The Collected one day. But they abandoned.
It's been a while, right? They've been talking about the third one. It's been years.
Well, they were filming it. They were filming it, and then COVID hit.
Oh, okay.
And then because of COVID, they had to shut down production. And then Marcus Dunson and Patrick Melton, after COVID restrictions had been lifted enough for them to film it, they went to call the producers, and the producers refused to return any of their phone calls ever.
Damn, really?
And they still can't get a hold of them. And they have like 8 days of film shot. And they're just like, I guess it's never happening because the producers
they just won't call them back. That's crazy.
Yeah. Pretty crazy, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I love the remake. Oh no, you're talking about the Hornswoggle one. That was terrible. But no, Leprechaun Returns by Stephen Kazansky from Psycho Gorman and The Void, and when he worked with Astron 6. If you haven't seen Leprechaun Returns, it's a blast. The Leprechaun Origins that Ricardo's talking about is fucking
Hornswoggle.
It's okay. It's not as bad as everyone says it is. It's just, it's okay-ish.
Yeah, I gotta watch Returns because my friend just did the whole a whole Leprechaun series for all the Leprechaun movies, and he never saw, I don't think, any of them. I saw like maybe the first 3, not really my series, but when he got to that one, he was like, man, this was a surprise. Like after really all the ones before that, he's like, this was really, really good. So it's been on my list now for a little bit. I gotta definitely check that one out.
He wasn't down with Leppin' the Hoods up to do no good.
I guess not.
Are you kidding me?
I know one of them made him break out his bottle of Jameson, and he was keeping it a secret till the end of the list of which movie broke. I'm pretty sure it was In the Hood.
That was probably that was probably Back to the Hood.
Yeah, one of the Hood ones.
Yeah. What's your next one? What do you got?
Wait,
did you do yours next?
Yeah, Piranha 3D.
Yeah, Piranha.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I'm trying to peek at my
I didn't look at your list. I was looking at your tits. Innocent.
Okay, I'm gonna say I didn't actually know this was a remake. I think I did, but then I forgot and remembered when I was looking up remakes. But 13 Ghosts.
Oh, sure.
Because that's a really big nostalgia film for me. It's kind of
Matthew Lillard.
Yeah, and also I love Matthew Lillard. But I don't know. It's like it's cool. I remember watching it when I was younger and being like super into just the house and the look of all the ghosts and the cast in general. Great, yeah.
I have the thing when I see houses, I gotta point out they're scary or they're gorgeous or like anything like that. So every time I see a nice house.
Yeah, I really love houses and movies, especially haunted houses and anything like that. So I think, yeah, it's just a unique film, and this is definitely. I know we're not comparing them to the original, but I've never seen the like 1960 whatever original, so I don't know at all what the comparison is like. But I think this is a really cool film.
It's good.
Yeah,
It's good. I've seen all those,
So.
all the House on Haunted Hills and all that shit back in the House of Wax, all that stuff.
Mhm.
I've seen them all. They're good. They're fine. I
Mhm.
like the
Yeah,
I like
some
The
of
the
them
early
are.
2000s horror is nice.
What's great about like early 2000s horror, whether it's 13 Ghosts or it's The Cell or it's like
Do the cell
there's a lot of like really high, like there's a good amount of high production value
Mhm.
and incredible set design. That's like I think where the early 2000s films or the late 90s films had some really incredible sets in their films. Like
Mhm.
I agree with that.
the creature effects in 13 Ghosts and the set design in 13 Ghosts are fucking impeccable.
Mhm.
Like
Yes.
the best parts, like some of the best I've ever seen in a horror movie in my life. The set is incredible. Like this is a massive set. Like
So
this is a
big.
fucking glass house.
Yeah.
And the way, like, do you have any idea how much of a nightmare it would have been
I
to
can't
film
imagine.
in that
I know.
house?
Can't imagine.
Yeah. Yeah.
How easily things can become smudged, reflections.
Oh my god, I
like,
know.
Oh
Yeah.
my
It'll
god.
be, it'll be a continuity horror's worst fucking nightmare.
Yes.
Sure. And it's super fun. I mean,
Mhm.
it's a silly
yeah.
movie.
It is, yeah, it is like silly and kind of campy for sure, but
It's
it's
super
fun.
fun. And that's
Yeah.
part of the they were doing some remakes and there was a whole company
Hmm.
that was doing those back then, and they did like House on Haunted Hill, 13 Ghosts, House of Wax, Dark
Yeah.
Castle, the Dark Castle movies. Gothica was one, even though that
Mhm.
wasn't a remake.
Yeah.
There was Ghost
remember
Ship.
that.
There
Ghost
was
Ship
like
has a great opening.
great Ghost Ship's. I really enjoy Ghost Ship as a film.
I gotta
And
rewatch it because all I remember is that opening, and it's awesome though.
Yeah, the
Hmm.
opening of Ghost Ship is great. The House on Haunted Hill, the return to House on Haunted Hill. Is that what the second? Something.
I think it is.
I think it's
so.
Return.
Return.
That was okay, but the original is good. Then there's The Haunting wasn't part of that though. The Liam Neeson, Catherine Zeta-Jones, Lily from The Conjuring, Lily.
Really from the
Not.
Conjuring?
I always want to call her.
I know who you mean.
But
I can't think of her name.
but great stuff.
Hmm.
Anyway, good pick. Yeah, 13 Ghosts.
Yeah.
I looked at it for sure. It's a fun film.
Mhm.
And I want to show you The Cell because you need to see it.
Yeah, the
Mm.
cell is great.
So, all right.
Your turn.
Me? Yes. Okay. Sorry.
Okay.
Let's see. Next up, let's do. Well, to go back to something that Amber had said, let's bring up her comment so that I was ignoring. If I've ignored your comments, then they probably were making it. This is Amber. Yes, I
Yeah.
would consider this a remake, and that is why it is on my list. This
Nice.
is an excellent remake.
Yes, it is.
This is how you remake a fucking movie,
Hell yeah.
right? You take the basic bones concept of it,
Mhm.
and you make it your own thing, right? This is an incredible thriller. Like Elizabeth Moss is one of the greatest actresses on the planet.
She's
And the way that
amazing.
she's able to
Yeah.
capture so many different emotions in this, like the battered woman syndrome. I know she's coming off of like Handmaid's Tale, so she's like used to being the like abused woman.
Uh-huh.
But like this is a film that kind of toes that line. And I know some people, because there's so many people are morons, but there's some people that consider this movie to be like woke propaganda or some shit. But like
Yeah, we
this
already
is
talked
a
about
really-
that one.
this is a really good take on like an abusive relationship
Yeah.
and like the lengths these guys will go to, like when you're dating like a genius
Oh my god. Yeah.
and he like convinces everyone she's insane.
Yes. I had this on my list too because I think it's wonderful. And yeah, there's something like super terrifying about it in a, obviously it's not realistic because it deals with some, like things that don't happen, that wouldn't happen. But when you look at it from the perspective of an abusive like real partner, it is really freaky to think like there are people that can go to those lengths, especially if they have money or the intelligence or both. Like the sabotage that he does to her life, and there's some really like jarring, there's some really jarring scenes in there too, where you're just like, oh my god,
Show the throat slit.
Yeah.
Yeah, what I think is really brilliant about The Invisible Man is like the play on words, right? That like when you are in an abusive relationship like she was, there is this invisible man that lives in your memory forever. Like, and he's going to haunt you for the rest of your life. Even if you do get away from him, he's still that invisible man that stalks your life.
Yeah.
You know, he could be dead. I mean, like he is in this film. He's dead.
Right.
Right. And so like he remains the invisible man in her mind.
Yeah.
Until he becomes the actual invisible man in the film.
Sure. Yeah. The abuse patterns
so like
stick with you.
Lee Winnell actually took this title and used it as, conceptually to bring in this idea of like a battered woman and how men literally become invisible men in their mind. So I think that's really brilliant. And
no, it's great.
Really, really impressed with it. And everything Lee Winnell has done, I'm super impressed with, whether it's his writing or his direction. Every movie he's directed. Insidious 3 is my favorite Insidious. Upgrade is fucking phenomenal.
Upgrade is great.
Super cool.
And then this is great. And hopefully, I don't know what he's making next. Supposedly, it's Escape from New York's remake. He was on the Wolf Man. I don't fucking know. We'll see, but I'm there day one.
No, everything he's done has never disappointed.
Yeah. Ricardo's throwing in his in the ring due to Gore Verbinski, who directed the amazingly wonderful freaking Cure for Wellness. I can't say enough good about that movie. I love it so much. And I also love the Pirates of the Caribbean trilogy. It was probably the first film that made me realize how important lighting and sound design is. Yeah, I mean, sound design is
super
huge.
Yeah.
As a musician, I always listen to the sounds in movies. Like that's like one of the first things I notice is sound design. And and The Ring does have great atmosphere, like he says too. Like that was on my 2000s list. I don't know if I'd throw it in here, but definitely a great remake. And it brought in all the rest of the Japanese horror remakes, which I never really cared for. The Grudge remake. I like Ju-on. I like the original, and I like Ringu better than The Ring. But I think The Ring is on par with the original, like quality wise.
The movie that Kaylee and I rewatched recently that I was blown away by the atmosphere and how fucking great it was Pulse.
Oh my god, yeah.
The original Pulse.
Pulse.
I haven't seen the remake, but yeah, the original Pulse is like one of my favorite Japanese horror movies for sure.
It's
on many people's highest up Japanese horror movies for a good reason.
Absolutely. The Ring actually is on my list, I'll just say, since everyone's talking about it.
As well.
I think it's fantastic. So
So yeah, guys, I mean, we still have some good time here. So if you're making your lists, you can throw them up at the end. And you might make a list out of our lists. You can find out all the ones that you're like, oh yeah, that one, this one. But I'd love to see everybody's list at the end if you can make them before we're done.
Sure.
So there you go, The Invisible Man, and Kaylee threw in.
Sorry, I jumped in with Pulse or with The Ring.
We jumped into The Ring.
That's all right. So okay, who's next?
Me, right? So I'm gonna get this just out of the way since we're not going in an order, and it's my favorite film of all time. So John Carpenter's The Thing.
Yeah, that's my number one.
Yeah, mine too.
I didn't have them in order, but that's number one.
That's for sure.
That's why I figured I'd throw it out because it's my number one, and no point in just sitting on it. It's just my favorite film of all time. Everything in it is perfect for me. Every character, every shot, every frame, the sound design, the cinematography, everything is just the practical effects are the best practical effects in a movie for me. Like
Mhm.
my favorite scene in a movie is the defibrillator scene.
Sure.
Everything
Mm.
about it. So there's not much I can say more on it besides just
Yeah.
loving it to death.
Mhm. Mhm.
So now, how do you feel about the prequel then?
I like it.
Yeah.
I think that it's a shame that
Yeah.
they threw so much CGI over the practical effects they had already.
Yeah.
Mm.
But it's fine for what it is. It's enjoyable. Like I got to do a video on that. But it's fun. I don't mind watching it when I do. The few times that I've seen it, if anything, I grew appreciation for it. Like
I
in the
really
last
enjoyed it.
watch.
I really enjoyed it in theaters. When I saw it, I was like, "Oh, this is really cool." If they would have stuck with the practicals, I think people would have loved this.
Yeah.
I
I wouldn't have loved
I'm-
it, but
I think
it's
that
fun.
I think that if we can, I really want to get together like a petition from horror community to try to see if we can get them to release the practical cut. I know that they probably never
Yeah.
will, but they should. And I think they could remarket it and really like be successful with selling some copies of that, because I would 100%
Oh,
buy
absolutely.
the practical version of the film.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like most people that I've talked to about it, their biggest complaint about the film. I mean, they paid attention to detail with that movie, man. Like
Oh,
they
sure.
they were
They
really
really-
making sure everything lined up, and like with the
Yeah.
axe in the wall and everything. The guy who slits his wrist, like
Yeah.
and the way it just ends entering with the dog and stuff into the first movie. Like that's awesome.
That's my favorite aspect. I watched the
Mhm.
behind the scenes on that and was really blown away by like how they got the original layouts and how they like had people working on like photo accuracy to make sure that everything lined up perfectly so that everything would feel like a legitimate prequel.
Oh, you can tell how much work they did.
And that was back when Mary Elizabeth Winstead was really like in every cool fucking thing.
Yeah.
Right. She was just like Scott Pilgrim versus the World and freaking Die Hard. All that stuff where I was just like, oh man, she's taking over the world. Like this is so cool.
Oh,
She was
yeah.
just like, she kind of reminds me of like how
Jenna Ortega.
Mia Goth or
Oh, yeah.
even Jenna Ortega.
Right
Yeah.
now, it's like
where it was
Jenna.
just all like
Yeah.
one after the other after the other after the other so fast. And I was like, oh wow, this girl's really making a name for herself overnight.
Yeah.
Final Destination 3. Yeah, she was in a lot.
Sure.
Black Christmas 06.
The remake,
Mm.
the good remake.
Yes. The only
Uh,
remake in my eyes.
So did Kaylee jump the gun there then? And
Yeah, we could go to you. I mean, yeah,
Oh.
The Ring was.
Ricardo's just dropping it all right now because you said the thing.
Ooh.
I don't know. He was just like, fuck it. Well, there you go. Invasion of the Body Snatchers, 78. It chapters 1 and 2. The Hills Have Eyes, Rob Zombie's Halloween, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and the thing. Well, thank you, Ricardo. Is he leaving or is he just dropping it because we dropped our number ones?
Yeah.
He's like, wait, hold on, what?
These are mine.
We're not. We're not done. He jumped the gun, so I went with it.
There you go.
what
Hey, I
do you got?
sold my kid to be here. I'll put my numbers wherever I want.
I mean, yeah, I guess if I move on. Well, funny enough, Ricardo, I also have it on my list and some other things.
As do I.
But yes,
As do I.
it's
Chapters 1 and 2.
1 and 2.
Yeah. This is one movie to me.
Yeah, I agree. I think
I
it's
don't know
just
what people were like thinking for the second one. Why they hated it. Like I know people hate the second one.
I don't know. I
I don't get it.
definitely am
I don't
not.
get it either.
I have no idea. I think it's fantastic. I mean,
do
it's
too.
like, we recently
It's
rewatched.
expectations.
Yeah, I think it is expectations. But we recently
Oh, for
rewatched the the 90s version, and it's pretty much both movies like
Condensed.
they're
into one thing,
condensed, yeah. But I don't know. I think that it's scary. It does such a good job of like adapting things from the book, which I know the 90s, like a lot of it's pretty much the same, but there's just something in the new in chapters 1 and 2, and I think a lot of it has to do with the cast and their portrayals of the characters. Like they did, they just have such great chemistry. And it's how I felt when I was reading the book, which I think is important with like Stephen King adaptations. Like if you can't capture like his characters, I think you miss out on a lot of his storytelling, because he's such a great character author. But yeah, I'm super excited for the Derry TV series.
Welcome to Derry.
Yeah. But I love it. It's definitely my favorite Stephen King anything. So
it's my favorite Stephen King novel too.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Yeah, go ahead, Jason.
No, okay. I was just gonna say that, like, I think that what It Chapter 2 had working against it was that, number one, and this is something that like House of the Dragon just recently had to go through, where you're recasting all the characters, and when you go into a sequel, the sequel is very heavily reliant. So like one of the hardest things to do in film is establishing characters, right? Like getting characters that people like. And when you establish characters that people love, like all of the kids in the original It, like It Chapter 1, to then have to go and recast them all as older characters and try to sell the audience on those characters being the kids. I think that's a really, really hard sell for an audience, because it's like watching the original Star Wars and then we jump ahead in the sequel. Like, let's say Empire Strikes Back took place 30 years in the future, and Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, Leia were all recast as older people. I don't care how good the movie is. I think a lot of people would be like, what the fuck is this? I'm here
for sure.
Mark Hamill. I'm here for Carrie Fisher. I'm here for Harrison Ford. Like, they want those people. So even though we did get the original cast in small spots, I think it might have honestly worked better for the audience if they would have done it more like the TV miniseries.
Yeah, or they
did the adult to kids throughout both films. I'm totally fine. I love both films. I didn't have a problem adjusting. I think everyone is like, I don't think they could have done a better job on casting.
No, I think they did a great job with the adults.
Yeah.
But I think that's a huge issue with a lot of people. And then number two, and this is always a thing with sequels, expectation.
Yeah.
Horror has a hard reputation with sequels, because people kind of already are privy to the like jump scares or the scares, right? Like The Conjuring 2 or like a lot of those movies, like there's such hype around them that people are like, I didn't like the sequel. And it's like, I don't know how you didn't like the sequel. Like, they're so in line with one another. They feel like such an extension of the first film. Yes. I don't get it.
I thought it was very organic feeling going from the first to the second one.
Yeah, I do too. And I don't really understand. I guess like I get what you're saying about like recasting characters, but I feel like with it, I don't really know how, like, it's a pretty well-known like story in general, just because it's, like, people know that it's about kids and then their adult versions. So I don't know why people would have a problem with like seeing the adult versions, but maybe, as you said, if it had been like more intermingled throughout both, but I don't know. I just think
I get what you're saying. I still think that's something they still haven't been able to fully capture in an adaptation of it. It's just, when you get like in the last like 100 pages or so, 150 pages, how you're just a sentence is started in the past, and then like the next chapter it's the adults. Like that's so like exhilarating to read, like especially your first time reading that and stuff. How it's jumping back and forth so much. It's so hard to do that in a film adaptation.
It is exactly, and that's definitely what I think people need to like remember too, because like film and books, they're just two different medias, and but yeah, I love it. And Maya saying some people were offended by the gay scene in It Chapter 2. Yeah, those people suck.
Isn't that in the
Okay.
book?
There's a I don't know if you mean which one, because
She's talking about the opening scene where the gay guy gets bashed.
that's
and
in
thrown
that's
out.
in the
yeah.
book.
That is in the
It's in the
Yes.
book. Yeah,
100%.
Yeah.
So you don't like, that's a thing that I'm starting to get really fucking annoyed by. And
Oh,
let me
yeah.
already get on this wagon right now about The Last of Us Part 2, which is going to have this backlash. Like, people are fucking dumb as fuck. I just want everyone to understand what I'm saying here, because like, they complain when something doesn't follow the source material, but if they don't like the source material, they want them not to follow the source material.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they'll launch fucking like, these huge ordeals over like, oh, well, I want you to follow the source material perfectly. And if you change anything, I'm going to be so mad. Oh, I don't like that one though. So don't follow the source material on that.
Yeah, they cherry pick.
It's just everybody wants everything fucking catered to them.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's like, that's not how the fucking world works.
Not
Okay?
at all.
You don't like the second game? Don't watch the fucking show.
Yeah.
Don't fucking do it. But to ask for them to follow the first game exact, but then you don't like the second game, don't fucking follow that, you can get fucked. You get it one way or the other. It's either following it or it ain't.
I remember the second. I remember when the second game came out. I never finished the first one, which I have to do. But I remember when the second one came out and the backlash that it was getting for one of the characters.
The people
Yeah.
are fucking stupid.
Yeah, they are.
Hi, Ricky.
What's up, Ricky? Do this one below it.
That one?
Ricky.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. I saw that.
Okay. This one.
So a Cujo remake could be good. Hilariously, Ricardo, there was for a while a Cujo remake in the works, and it was Cujo as an acronym. I'll never forget this. Like C dot U dot, whatever, you get the deal. And that stood for Canine Unit Joint Operations. I'll never forget this. They were gonna have like robo dogs,
Whoa.
and this was gonna be
That's
some
like
remake.
way out
Look it up. I'm not shitting you. I was like, what the?
That's like, let's take Cujo completely into another stratosphere.
It was basically kind of reminds me of the Child's Play remake.
Yeah.
Where they're like, let's just make him a fucking robot doll.
Yeah, I agree with you, Amber. I do
Yes.
think that Yellow Jackets does a great job with their casting.
I thought they did a great job on House of the Dragon as well.
Yeah. Your turn.
Oh, my turn. Yes, my turn. Where's my list? Here it is. Let's do The Blob.
Yeah.
You read my mind.
Just
It's on
the
my
greatest,
list, too.
man.
It's so good.
I would say this is one of the only films in contention against The Thing for practical effects. The practical effects in The Blob are so phenomenal and are never, ever brought up in that conversation.
I know.
People are always like, American Werewolf in London, The Thing, whatever. The Blob is never, ever mentioned in this list, and it drives me nuts because they spent like over half the budget of the movie on the effects.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. You could see it. Like there's
You
a
can see
lot
it.
of amazing effects in that movie.
Like,
And they
It's
kill a
like-
kid, which is good in any movie in my horror movie in my book.
sure,
Yeah.
sure. That scene where the guy is like reaching out.
Oh my
That
god.
creeped
inside
me
the
out
blob
when I
is
first saw it as a kid. That creeped me out.
amazing. This is very reminiscent, of course, of Creepshow 2
Yeah.
with the
The
raft.
Yes.
And
It's my favorite in that movie.
that just, there's something about that where like you're completely like, covered
Oh my god. It's
in this
awful.
slime, this
It's
jelly
so gross.
that like
It's
you can't get off your body, right? It's
Yeah.
body horror.
It is body horror. That's what I was gonna say. It's definitely one of the best.
Look how
body
hard
horror.
it is to get gum off.
Yeah.
that
Oh my
thing.
god.
Imagine a blob just consuming you, like basically. And
I would
like
die.
it doesn't look like it feels pleasurable at all. So then you
No.
get that on top of it. And then you have death. So all
Speaking
three
of-
not good things.
Speaking of a pleasurable blob, did you watch this movie with me? I don't think you did. There was a movie called The Special Did you watch this movie?
No.
It was in the last maybe 2 or 3 years.
No, no.
So, oh man, if you haven't seen this is like a sexual blob. So
Okay.
there is this guy who gets taken to a whorehouse with his friend, and his friend's like, "You got to have the special, man. It'll change your life." And the girl's like, "I don't know, he can't handle the special and this and that." And then he goes into the room, and there's just like a box with a hole in it.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "What the fuck is this?" And they're like, "Put your dick in there. Your life will be forever changed and whatever." And so he finally puts his dick in there, and he has like the most thrilling orgasm of his entire life. And he becomes like addicted to this thing. And then he like goes in there, and they're like, "You can never see what's in there," and this and that. And like, you know, he breaks it open eventually, and there's like a blob thing in there. It's nuts. It's a wild movie. I definitely recommend the shit out of it. It's a super bizarro movie, but it's very, so there you go. There you go. Yeah, The Fly is another one that almost made my list. Another great body horror movie. Phenomenal. Kaylee's never seen it.
With everything,
I haven't.
Oh, it's
you never saw The Fly remake?
I haven't.
That's
oh,
a good one.
Maya, don't do it. Don't ever bring that scene up to me again. I'm gonna commit suicide if I think of that.
See what you're doing, Jason.
Why does everyone always have to hit me over the head with that? It's so sad.
Yeah.
It's the saddest fucking scene I've ever watched in my life. Ugh,
they're trying to kill you, man.
They really are. The Twilight Zone movie is good. I don't know, it is a remake because they're only covering like segments of the past, right? They did the Terror at 30,000 feet, which I think was originally Terror at 20,000 feet, but they had the elevated, modern aeronautics. And then you had Kick the Can, which I think, if I remember correctly, the Twilight Zone movie is the racist guys first, the one who has to go through, he's like the super racist guy, and then he has to be taken through history, and he lives as like a black guy, he lives as a Jewish guy, and then he gets like carted away on one of the trains to Auschwitz at the end of the segment or something, and he's like screaming for like forgiveness for his racism. And then it goes like Kick the Can, I think, and then it's the
it's been so long since I've seen
the kid in the kid with the cornfields is next, which is great. That's such a great segment. And then Dan Aykroyd is actually the wraparound guy. Remember that?
Dan Aykroyd.
He turns around and his face is all like freaking Large Marge from Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
That's such a great movie too.
And then I think it ends on Terror at 30,000 feet. And then this time it's William Shatner in the original, and in the movie, because they've made it 3 times now, because they made it for Jordan Peele's show too. Or did they make it for the 80s? It was the 80s.
I think it was the 80s. I think it was the 80s.
Isn't the God? Who's the guy in the Twilight Zone movie? I'm like blanking on this now. It's as soon as I see it, I'm gonna be pissed. But anyways, I like it. I'm a big fan of it.
I gotta rewatch it.
What's up?
I gotta rewatch it. It's been a while since I've seen the Twilight Zone movie.
Yeah. So who's next? What was happening? I went. John Lithgow. That's right.
Oh yeah, John Lithgow was great. He's great in everything. Who's next? Am I or is Kayla next? I'm next. All right. This is an interesting one, just because I rarely prefer the remakes to an original, especially by the same director. And this is Funny Games from 2007, the American remake, which I've seen the original a few times. And it's a shot-for-shot remake, the remake.
It is. Yeah.
But just having Naomi Watts and Tim Roth, just elevated for me alone.
Don't forget Michael Pitt.
And Pitt, yes, and Pitt. But they all kill it in that movie. Like I just something about the whole cast of characters and that I don't get that same draw to watching the original. but it's not really even. I wouldn't even say it's a horror movie. I guess it's a home invasion of sorts.
It's a home invasion movie. If The Strangers is a horror movie,
Yeah.
Then yeah. But it's such I love how they start messing with just like reality and stuff that you don't expect at all. Like when they just when the guy gets shot and he rewinds time backwards. Kind of reminds me of The Mutilator, not with time, but like when he does the whole little like honky tonk piano dance, and then he tips his hat, and then he leaves the scene. Kind of reminds me of how random it is, like that. Because the first time I saw Funny Games, I did not expect that. Like for the guy to just pick the remote up. No, I don't like how this happened. Fuck you, and go backwards. It's like, oh, all right, we're going with this, and it's such a fun movie though, and it's like the title implies. It's fun.
And who could ever forget Ciao Bella?
Ciao Bella.
Ciao Bella.
Yeah, great ending.
Ciao Bella.
Yeah, it's a good one. Michael Pitt is an actor that I feel is vastly underappreciated.
So much I forgot to mention him.
I mention him because I'm an enormous, massive fan of Hedwig and the Angry Inch. And he's one of the stars of that film. He plays Tommy Gnosis, and I fucking adore that film. And Michael Pitt is a huge reason of why I love that film. So anytime I see Michael Pitt, and if you want to see a lot of nude Eva Green, and you do, trust me, you do. She's in a movie with Michael Pitt as well. Heavily recommend that one for sure. So anyways, let's move on. What are we you? Right?
Yes.
Let's do it.
I'm gonna say Maniac.
Oh, okay. It's on my list.
Because I know it's on your list.
Somebody called it here earlier. Where was it?
Is it on your list too, JT?
My number one on my 2000s and on list.
I
think it's one of the greatest remakes ever.
It's phenomenal. It's really phenomenal. It's so scary. And I love Elijah Wood. I actually didn't know he was such a huge horror fan for a while. So I just think that's super cool. And I love the original Maniac too. I think that this is a really cool example. Yeah, where you have like a great original and also a really amazing remake too.
Yep.
Oh, sure.
Like they're both just so fantastic on their own.
They're one of the few remake, two films that I can't put one over the other. Like if I think about it hard, like it's real hard. Like I don't know if I can, but they're different. I love how grimy William Lustig's is, and just from being from New York and stuff. Just like I like seeing like New York City in disarray and shit, like before they cleaned up the city, and it just has that just disgusting feel to it. And then you see the remake, and it's just like the neon lights, and it's in LA, and the setting moving the setting I thought was a good decision. But like the practical effects in that movie are fucking excellent. Like
amazing.
Oh my gosh.
To the point that it looks too real sometimes. Like it, like with the knife through the thing at the very opening through her mouth, like showing, looks so good. Like the scalpings look great. Like the homage to the VHS cover is like everything is so good in that movie. And I was trying to think recently because I'm doing a watch party of the remake. I was supposed to do it this week, but somebody who was going to make it couldn't make it, so I'll be doing it next week sometime. But I was trying to think of other movies that have done like 99 or 95% all POV. And I don't know if you're into Gaspar Noé at all. But Enter the Void, his 2009 movie, that's a lot of it's in POV. And I totally forgot about that one. They just threw it on Tubi, so I rewatched it the other night.
Yeah,
I can tell you a few, but go ahead.
I was just going to say, I actually wasn't able to finish that movie because it kind of freaked me out in a bad way. Sort of gave me an anxiety. Into the Void.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, but I would at some point probably need to revisit it. Because I feel like I should.
I love Gaspar Noé's stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, Maniac is just fantastic.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the POV style in horror or in film in general, like Hardcore Henry. I'm a massive fan of Hardcore Henry. I think it's literally the most like underrated, if you want to call it. I hate that word, but you know, it is what it is. It's like literally the most underrated action film of the last like decade. I think I'm blown away that everyone hated that movie because it is so fucking rad. It's like John Wick mixed with like freaking, I don't know, some video game, and it's all in POV. And then if Hotel Inferno, all the Hotel Infernos are in POV. If you haven't seen Hotel Inferno, I definitely recommend it.
I think I have seen there's a few of them. You said, right?
They just shot the fourth one. It's from a company called Necrostorm. They make movies like Adam Chapel and or Adam Chaplin and Tater City, stuff like that. But Hotel Inferno is their best.
I've seen the first one.
They made Sweet 313 as well. But yeah, I actually crowdfunded the second, I think, and third movie. I'm in the credits on a couple of them.
No.
But I didn't love the sequels, but I am a big fan of the original Hotel Inferno. It's pretty wild POV horror film. There's some great POV horror in the Doom movie with The Rock and freaking Carl Urban. I
haven't seen it.
Out of that film.
I still haven't seen the new Doom.
The new Doom's terrible.
Not the new Doom, the original David Lynch one. You mean?
No, Doom.
Oh, like Doom. I thought you were saying Dune for a second.
Yeah.
I was like, why is this not making sense to me? Because I love Lynch.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
No.
Doom is great though. The newer ones, especially too, are great too.
Shout out to Zach Holt here. I've had him up on the screen for a while now for picking one of our movies. But yes, the Maniac remake is excellent.
A work of art.
It's excellent. I think if I had to pick my favorite aspect of the film, and that's very, very difficult because I think everything about it is amazing, but it would probably be the soundtrack. It would probably be the score. I was just
thinking, it has a really amazing.
Good. By Rob, right? Rob does
it. It's like just it's just like one name, right? He doesn't have a last name or anything in the credits. Yeah, I think it's something like that.
The opening, the opening music when he's like driving the van, he's like, "I'll see you soon." The legit, maybe like top 5 greatest opening songs to a horror film of all time, up there with Halloween. Up there,
it's fantastic.
It's fucking phenomenal.
Yeah,
like that. That's the type of movie that has no flaws for me. Like I don't have really any flaw for that movie. Yeah. It's fantastic.
Absolutely.
There's another one that I'm trying to remember. I'm looking it up. I didn't like it that much, but it's all in POV as well. There's a few of them, and I'm trying to remember their titles. But when you put POV horror into Google, it only gives you fucking found footage, which is really annoying. That is not what POV horror is.
Not at all.
Damn it. So anyways, who's next?
You.
Me, huh? Yeah. I'm gonna find these damn movies. I'll send them over to you, but those are the first. Those are the ones. All
right, cool.
Okay, we're getting down to the end here.
Yeah,
it's almost been 2 hours, so it's perfect anyway.
Yeah.
So call it. All right. What haven't I mentioned? So I think all that's left that one of you didn't say or whatever is the movie that some people will argue is a sequel. And I will argue the opposite. This is clearly a remake, and this is Evil Dead 2.
Evil Dead 2.
Evil Dead 2 is definitely it's close. It's like right there with The Thing for me. It's like the greatest remake of all time. Like,
yep.
And I think what is more successful about it is that, like, you know, The Thing from Another World or whatever that the John Carpenter was remaking, that movie is you know, it is what it is. For the time, I'm sure it was good, but I'm not a fan.
No, I don't.
But I love the Evil Dead.
Yeah,
like the original Evil Dead rules. I love everything Evil Dead. Actually, I've never disliked anything Evil Dead.
That's the same with me. That's why I'm hoping Rise
I've heard
First
literally nothing but amazing about Evil Dead Rise.
Yeah.
That's
Like it's
a really
blowing the doors off of everyone right now.
Yeah.
So, oh yeah,
it's one of those few perfect series for me that just
Yes.
never has done anything wrong. Every single entry, the TV series, the remake, all
the video
fantastic.
games.
I still
Yeah.
haven't played the video game. I've been
Oh,
sitting on that
it's
for
great.
so long.
It's great.
It is great.
So yeah, the Evil Dead 2. I mean, what is there to say about it? It's kind of like it reminds me of the scene. Anytime I think of Evil Dead 2, it always makes me think of the scene from a wonderful film called High Fidelity with John Cusack and Jack Black.
Okay.
And he asks Jack Black, he's like, what would you say to me if I told you that I haven't seen Evil Dead 2 yet?
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh,
Jack
that's right.
Black's
Yeah, yeah.
response of how he just fucking loses his mind is so funny and great. And basically all of my thoughts like perfectly, articulated. So it's wonderful. You know what it actually kind of
My
reminds
favorite
me of?
series.
It reminds me of Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2.
Yeah,
Right.
kind of.
First
How it
one
went
is
serious,
serious, and then the next one is
Yeah.
this plucky, ridiculous, over the top, zany,
Yeah.
but still insanely gory.
Oh my god, it's so good. I definitely think Evil Dead 2 is like probably the best horror comedy in existence. I don't know. There's a lot of good ones. It's like thinking of
for sure, but
Brain
it's up
Dead.
there.
I was
That's my
gonna say,
favorite zombie movie, Dead Alive. It's my favorite.
Yeah.
Dead Alive's my favorite
Dead
zombie movie
Alive.
as well.
Right.
Wait, what?
yeah,
What? Jason, what did you say?
I said Dead Alive is also my favorite
Oh,
zombie
really?
movie.
Dude,
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
fucking
but I
love
think
it.
Evil Dead 2 is like, it's pretty much a perfect horror comedy.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Hi, Guillermo. I cannot
Guillermo.
say
Hey, Guillermo.
Hi. You got back from watching
oh,
Malum.
wonderful.
Oh, cool.
Wonderful.
I want to
Okay.
watch it. I wish it was
We're
playing
gonna
near
figure out
us.
how to see this shit.
Yeah,
We're gonna see it.
we're gonna watch it.
We're gonna see it.
Malum.
So,
I gotta see it
Evil
too. I don't
Dead
know what it is.
2.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Evil
it's
Dead
my
is
Let's-
favorite in the franchise for sure, and it's in probably definitely my top 10 horror films of all time. If not, probably creeping into the top 5. That's something
feel
I've never
like-
been able to sit down and do and like list out my top horror movies. Like I don't know if I could do it. Top 3 are already there, but besides that, yeah, I don't know how good that would go trying to make a list.
I feel like Evil Dead 2. I feel like there's such an importance in movies like Evil Dead 2 because like it reminds me of something like Beetlejuice, Evil Dead 2. There's definitely some films that stand out to me that like they're like genre defining where they open up your mind to like new avenues of like what you can get out of a medium. Like before you watch like Evil Dead 2, I think your mind is more restricted, and I think it frees your mind and you're able to like enjoy films in a different way.
Yeah.
Right. Like I feel like a lot of people are very tethered to an idea. Right. And films like Evil Dead 2 breaks them free and really kind of makes them shows them that there's like a different way to approach things. Right. And that they become like their own subgenre onto themselves. And it takes these kind of genius filmmakers like a Tim Burton, like a Sam Raimi, that are able to kind of come in with their own stamp and their own artistic expression and their own style. And they kind of invent this whole new like access point in your brain. Because like when I was a kid and I saw that, it's like, it's so jarring because you're like, what is this? Like film's not like this. This isn't film. Like, and I've seen films like that really like they kind of kick down the doors. You know what it kind of reminds me of actually, if anybody's ever seen this movie, is a movie called Dark City by Alex Proyas, who directed The Crow and the movie with the Nicolas Cage one, Knowing. where literally it's like this. It's a really, really cool movie. It's Kiefer Sutherland. Anyway, it's this like world where the whole world is just this one little city. And these people every night, these like guys come and they freeze time, and then they like change everyone's identity, and they make them think that they have these pasts and these futures. And it actually is what really opened up my mind to this idea of like, I'm the only thing that makes me that I know is me is my memory. And like only when you're living in this moment do you know that right now you exist, and that literally every single thing before right this second could be implanted into your memory, and you just exist like right in this moment. Right now is like I just started existing, but like my memory is all I got.
Yeah.
Right. And Dark City does this thing where it plays with this idea that like all you are is like your memory. And up until this point, you'll swear you're real because you're this and that. And then this guy literally like goes out and he opens the world to people. Like you'll have to see the movie to see what I'm saying.
Yeah, I gotta check that out for sure, because that's right up my alley. That type of thinking and stuff like that, and type of ideas. I love
this. Is just I don't know. There's films like that do this to my brain where they actually like Mystery Science Theater 3000 was a big thing for like what made my sense of humor. And then like Evil Dead 2 and Beetlejuice and stuff like really opened my mind to like different avenues of films where I was like, oh, you can do these kinds of things.
That's
you
what
can be creative.
Like these things can mix. These things can work together. Like these ideas. Like the first time I saw Evil Dead 2 blew me away, and it's been my favorite ever since. Like the first time I saw the first one, everyone was talking about like just saying how much of a classic it is, and it is. But no one was really talking about Evil Dead 2 as highly back when I was like, how old was I when I saw Evil Dead? 9, 10. Not many people were talking Evil Dead to know what Evil Dead 2 is the best. Watch that one. Well, of course, you're going to watch the first one first. Not always, but whatever. But I don't know. I feel like it got a lot more love as time went on, but maybe that was just the way it was presented to me at first. And
I'd be curious on the reception of Evil Dead 2 when it was released, on how people dealt with it, because there's lots of films. I mean, we all know the fucking story of The Thing, right? Like,
it was
bombed hard and people hated it. Like, to think that people went to the theater, but then again, The Empire Strikes Back was maligned. Right? Like any film that takes risks and changes up the formula and doesn't do what everyone expects it to do. It's always going to get pushed back on. Halloween 3 or whatever. Like, these are the movies that are like the black sheeps of the franchise. Friday the 13th, Part 5, The New Beginning, stuff like that. But I mean, every film I just mentioned, I love. Right. So like, I think there's a certain mentality. And then there's films like that I don't like, right? Like Jason Goes to Hell or something, like where I hate the fucking film.
It's not always something doesn't always work 100% of the time, obviously, but when it does, it's amazing when it does.
Sure. And Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, which I adore. Halloween Ends, which I adore. Right? Like I've always been a big fan of this. Like, fuck it, let's take the risk.
Same. That's why I love.
And sometimes you can play it safe and change it, right? Like you can do both. And I think James Cameron is probably a perfect example of this, where like with Terminator 2, he really blew everyone's mind and kind of put like this whole new expectation on sequels, right? Where like he took Arnold and he made him the good guy, and he completely flipped this fucking script on what everyone expected the second one to be, and everyone's minds were blown. In a good way, and that was like a film that everybody loved when it came out, even though it kind of did take a risk and did change things up. But so it can work, but a lot of the times it doesn't work. And then you get stuck with the bitchy crying audience, and then the movie never gets the sequel or the praise that it deserves, and it's a shame, because I don't know how like Carpenter feels about the reception of The Thing now. I'm sure it's nice for him, but I'm sure it's really hard also to like remember when he thought his career was over.
Mhm.
right? Where he is
Oh,
like,
for
oh,
sure.
everybody hates like what I can see. I'm sure at the time he's like, oh my god, I just made like such an amazing movie. I can't wait to unleash it onto the public. And then
Yeah, then
everyone's like,
get that response from it. Yeah, that's got to be hard for sure. Especially
I
that I'd
couldn't.
love to meet these critics who were panning the movie and what they thought were masterpieces back then.
Could you
Because
imagine? Could you imagine making The Thing? Could you imagine being the filmmaker that made The Thing, releasing it, and everyone hating it?
yeah, no,
I would.
that's unreal.
I would give up.
Yeah, like, what do you do at that point? It's like it's wild that his career went through like ups and downs like that.
And people
Mhm.
hated Big
Like,
Trouble in Little China too.
yeah, but then like The Thing though is like, The Thing in Halloween is most people's top
Mhm.
Carpenter film, and just to think that, just to look back and think on that like you said, that it was hated
Yeah.
is like insane to me, because it's my
Yeah.
favorite movie all time. It's like, wow, this was hated. So like, what was loved like back then,
Mhm.
like in the horror genre? It's wild how the opinions on that turned around. Same with
Yeah.
Halloween 3, but I mean, it's nowhere near as amazing a movie as The Thing. But I love Halloween 3,
I
always
love it.
have. But
I love
yeah, you know how that movie got hated on and just recently, in the last maybe 10 years, it's been getting more and more love as time goes on,
Yeah.
which is great.
Yeah, there's few films that do atmosphere better than
Mhm.
Oh,
Halloween.
it's so good.
I gotta go soon, but I'll drop my
Yeah,
top 10. Let's do it, Ross. Number 10, Friday the 13th, 2009.
Mm.
2009. Not a fan of this movie.
I like this movie.
I've
I'm not a
always
fan.
tried to like it.
It's all right.
I think it's good. I like it.
The opening is good. I like
A
the very opening.
A
Mhm.
slasher movie is only as good as its tits. And I do not like the tits in the opening of this movie at all.
I'm
Tits in the
gonna
later segments of the movie
I disagree.
They're stupendous.
Yes, as he says.
As he says in the movie.
I disagree with those
Now-
qualifications.
Now,
but
does anybody think, or does anybody have a theory that Friday the 13th and Transformers are in the same universe? Hmm?
I was never a Transformers fan, so I don't know what the hell you're talking about. But
yeah,
love
The
to hear
guy
more.
who calls her tits stupendous.
Oh yeah,
He's the same character with the same name, the same actor, everything as
really?
the character he plays in Transformers.
so maybe. I
it's
guess
a
they can
possibility then.
And they're both
He was
they're
taking
both
time
produced
off.
by the same guy. So just saying, little shared universe. I want to see Jason versus Optimus Prime. I don't think that would go very good
Oh
for
my
Jason.
god.
No.
All right, number 9, The Grudge, 2004. I will always, and I mean always, stick up for and defend the fuck out of The Grudge 2019.
Oh yeah.
I think that movie is fucking
I
awesome.
was really into that
I
movie.
still
think
haven't
it
seen it.
Crazy.
I gotta check it out. I still haven't
Yeah,
seen
it's
it.
got like a really cool kill that is like probably the most realistic suicide I'll say
yeah,
that I've
yeah.
ever seen.
Yeah,
It's good.
big
Yeah, I was
fan.
never a fan of the Grudge movies in general, so I gotta give that one a shot though.
I am. I really like them. I think that they're like because they're so like I guess aside from the 2019 one, they're so non-violent and there's not a lot of gore or anything. Yes, but I think that there are very, very highly effective like scares in them, and I actually really like the TV series too that we watched on
TV
Netflix.
series is good.
Mhm.
I like the original Ju-on The Grudge. I don't
Yeah.
care for the remake that much.
Mhm.
I like the
Remake has the same
sequels.
director.
Yeah, no, which is weird because something about the remake I don't care for. Maybe it's just Sarah Michelle Gellar, and like it's not her as an actress, but just like maybe it takes me out of a little bit, just how familiar she is. I don't know, it's something like that probably. But I've always liked the original much more. Like The Ring, it's a lot more even for me. The remake versus the original.
Yeah, Mulholland Drive definitely
Love it.
opens you up to unconventional story. I would say unconventional storytelling of a movie ever opened me up to that would have been Pulp Fiction. When I saw that, I saw
Oh,
that
yeah.
in theaters
Pulp Fiction's great.
in 94 when it came out. I was 12, and it was like mind blowing to me at the time. I was like, wait, films don't have to be linear? Like, wait, what? Is that a thing? Like, I'd never seen anything like that before in my life at that point, and it really blew my mind. And you know, I love every Quentin Tarantino film. But that one definitely like that, like Mulholland Drive, which is obviously a David Lynch film, and
Yes,
a
and
wonderful film.
I'm a huge David Lynch fan. I adore Lynch.
Yeah, me too.
Ross is at 2017. I
Heck
guess
yeah.
he's a chapter 2 hater, so we got to attack him a little bit. We talked about it plenty. And The Invisible Man, which I had mentioned and was on my list. You had to watch it 3 times before understanding Mulholland Drive.
Yeah.
Well, watched it more than once, but the movie I had to watch multiple times to understand was what was I going to say? Fuck. The movie I had to watch multiple times to understand was shit. What was I going to say? Fuck. Let's keep going. I'll remember it. The Invisible Man, number 6. Yeah, we already did that. Evil Dead, 2013. Great film. Let Me In's good. I
love
I
the
definitely prefer Let the Right One In. I would like to watch the TV series.
Yeah, I've been seeing commercials about that.
Yeah. Definitely really enjoy it. The original is great. The remake, which is directed by the guy who just directed the Batman and fucking Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, Rise of the Planet of the Apes, or not, War for the Planet of the Apes. Fucking phenomenal director. So it's not surprising to me that people love that one so much, but it's my least favorite of his films. Anyways, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Oh, that's on my list.
That's on mine too.
I forgot mine. Oh, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Fuck.
Number 3.
I'm glad you brought it up because it is also on my list.
My favorite out of the major slasher franchises by far, the remake.
So Texas Chainsaw Massacre, since I forgot to mention it, is on my list because I love it. A, B, because of Jessica Biel's outfit, which made me go through puberty. Just kidding, I was already through puberty.
It's
number 3,
it's so iconic. I feel that outfit.
Yes, it is. I went into that movie because at that time when they were making remakes, I was very like, oh God, I don't know about this idea of remakes. Like, do we need to do this? And like I went into the theater and was just not expecting anything out of it. I was just like, well, maybe it'll be okay, whatever. And it was so violent and nasty and dark and brutal. And I thought that Leatherface in it was terrifying.
Yes.
And I was just like, whoa, this is amazing. The girl fucking pulls a gun out of her bloody pussy and blows her brains out. And the camera
That's such a great shot
through her head.
I love
amazing.
that.
Just amazing.
Arlie Ermey's performance is so good in that. I mean, he's good in everything, but Arlie Ermey is fantastic in that movie.
And I'm surprised I forgot it because you also mentioned, Alexander Aja, as well. So whatever. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And this is another film that has like a prequel sequel that people hate that I think is great. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the beginning. I don't get the big deal. Why don't people like it? I think it's great.
Yeah, I think it's good. I haven't seen it in a while. I like it though. It's more Arlie Ermey. There's not really anything that like you wouldn't expect from the movie, like when it came out. The one I got to rewatch is 2022, the one from last year.
Fucking love it.
I know you just recently told me, and I said I was on it. I should rewatch that. So that's one.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I actually probably prefer it to the remake. Really? I love it.
Sure. Yeah.
I love it. I thought it was violent, graphic, gory, hilarious. Like the cancel culture shit was amazing. Like
the bus. I remember that was cool.
Oh, so good. Yeah, all right, number 2, Dawn of the Dead. Another movie we didn't mention. Another one that really blew my mind in theaters. I feel like upon rewatch, I don't feel like it held up as well as when I saw it in theaters, and that's probably why it didn't make my list. I still really enjoyed it, but for some reason, going back to it, I didn't find it as wonderful. Because when I saw it in theaters, I was like, "This is so cool." Because it was like Texas Chainsaw, then this, right?
Right.
They like came out right back to back, like 2003, 2004, and I was like, "Oh, okay, maybe I am into this whole remake idea." And Dawn of the Dead was super, super cool. I'll never forget seeing that and the like piano covers of Disturbed songs and shit were so
Yeah. Disturbed, man. I liked some of their stuff back then.
Yeah. And number 1, The Ring, 2002.
Ring.
There you go. That is Rossbird's list, the definitive list. Everything else we said,
nothing else matters. Well, that's checking if I didn't mention something. I know it's going. The Uninvited is a good remake. I like that one.
That is a remake of A Tale of Two Sisters.
Yes.
I think so.
Is that the one? That's a remake.
Yeah.
A Tale of Two Sisters is really good.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's a good remake though. It's good.
Yeah, I mean, there's tons of remakes that we didn't mention that I like a lot.
Yeah.
I
was gonna say Rob Zombie's Halloween is definitely on my list. But we kind of talked a little bit about. Well, I guess you guys mostly talked about
people fucking
Halloween
hate
too.
that movie.
I love it. I don't care. I love the
it,
6'9" beefy Michael, and I think it's great. I'm
I have a
into
great
it.
time with it. Yeah.
So, but
I really
in a way,
enjoy it. I do prefer. I'm bummed that the more readily available version these days is the director's cut, because I haven't even seen it in a long time. The version that I enjoy, where I like the way that Michael breaks out of jail much more in the theatrical than in the unrated, where like the rape scene and all that stuff like that. I don't know. There's something about that's too frantic. It doesn't work as well as Michael breaking out. I like that much more.
I don't remember that scene. Maybe I never saw the director's cut.
The director's cut
that sounds weird.
Yeah, the two orderly, like one, it's like an orderly, and he brings like a friend or something, and they're like raping one of the girls, and they want Michael to watch them do it.
They're just being like
that
dicks.
sounds weird.
But I'm a big fan of that. I liked it very much when I saw it in theaters. I thought it was a cool take on like, I liked that Michael talked, which we're going to talk about with the adaptation of the novel here soon. But I like zombies.
Oh yeah, cool. I'm a
movie for sure. And I love Halloween too. So we already know that. But I like it. I love the first two Ju-ons on the Netflix show. That's cool. There's a lot of those. Matt Reeves. I forgot to mention his name. Thank you for saying it. I didn't forget it. I just didn't mention it. Of course, The Fly. I feel like mentioning directors' names like that kind of go over people's heads. You just have to say what movies they.
Yeah.
Most people are like, if I mention directors to my clients, they're like, "Oh."
Yeah.
So I always have to be like, "Oh yeah, he
directed by name."
I'm not gonna say like Denis Villeneuve, and my clients are gonna be like, "Oh yeah, he directed Dune." And fucking, Prisoners, and I have to say their movies to be like, "This guy's great," and he directed this, and then they're like, So yeah, there you go. Oh yeah, Red Dragon. I don't know. It's good. I like Michael Mann's movie much more because
it's all right. I didn't care for Red Dragon too much.
Michael Mann is amazing, and his films are beautiful. And I know Manhunter is mostly just like shots of like wide shots of like scenery and shit, but I don't care. I think it's a gorgeous film. It almost reminds me of Brokeback Mountain in that way, where the film is like so beautifully shot. I could just sit there and watch the fucking film. Even though I really enjoy this, the material, the film is so beautiful, like Blade Runner 2049, where you're like, I don't even care if I like this movie.
Yeah.
watch this movie.
I just
all
like
day.
looking at it.
Mhm.
You could turn the fucking sound off and I'd still like it. All right, so Batman, the new one, like those movies are they're so fucking beautiful. They're so gorgeous to look at. I'm just like, oh my god, I don't even care if I like this movie. This movie is incredible.
You put it on some background stuff.
Anything by Nicholas Winning Refn, like Neon Demon,
Yeah.
or Drive or whatever, like Only God Forgives. You can just watch his films. You can just put them on mute and they're just perfect.
Visually, yeah.
I love visually pleasing movies. Ooh. What games you got? I got like 20 that I have played like 3 of because I don't got any
Free
fucking time because I'm doing 2 hour and 20-minute live streams. Number 1, Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Number 2, House of Wax 53. Okay, he's gonna put House of Wax 53 as his favorite remakes. Okay, because there is that is a remake. So House of Wax is a remake of a remake. The original House of Wax is actually Museum of Wax or something from the 30s. So
yep,
House of Wax from the 50s.
You're still here.
Oh, we're here. He's gone. He's here. What's going on? You still around? Then we got The Thing 82. Yeah. We got Flesh for Frankenstein. Yeah. What the fuck is that? If we were putting those kinds of movies on here, I would definitely throw in something like Horror of Dracula, the Peter Cushing and fucking Hammer horror films. Oh man, you just reminded me of the Hammer horror remakes, but those are more just like readaptations, right? You got the
like reimaginings,
all that stuff. So, oh man, yeah, the Hammer horror films, great stuff. I'm glad you mentioned that. Shin Godzilla, I've never seen it, but I've seen a lot of Godzilla films for sure. Nosferatu 79, the one with Klaus Kinski, directed by Werner Herzog. I have not ever seen that, but I have seen the original, and I'm very much looking forward to Robert Eggers' movie.
Yeah, that's right. He's got it coming out.
The Fly 79. The Fly is not from 79.
85. Right.
So
85 or 86. 85.
I don't. Is there a different Fly from 79?
Not that I know of. No.
Suspiria, The Blob, and Maniac. So, anyways, there we go.
Awesome.
85. Okay, I was gonna say. There you
go. Cool.
Guys, it was a pleasure.
Absolutely.
JT, thank you for joining us.
No, man, thanks for having me.
Once again, just so we've got it here, we've got JT's channel. I'm going to plug it once more. Here you go. If you want to watch his videos. For anyone who doesn't like Kaylee on the channel, he's kind of got a channel like I used to have.
Yeah.
So you can go over to him for the solo male perspective. Because you're sexist pricks.
That's right. I know who you are.
Yeah, that's right. So thank you
thanks for having me on, guys.
Thank you guys for being so interactive in the comments. Even though there was only about 12 people here the whole time.
It makes us so much better.
When we do like the big, the live streams for everybody, we're usually like 40, 50 people.
Yeah.
But I feel like when we're not, like even here at 11, 10, 12, 11 people, we kept about the same amount of comments as like when there's 50 people in here. So thank you guys for being interactive because that's what we're here for.
Yes.
We want to talk to you guys.
That's why we love discussing horror and film.
Yes.
Create discussions.
Yeah. So there are new videos only for members and patrons. I posted links in both the Patreon and the members only. You guys got access to Slasher Sundays, Monster Mondays, and Stephen King Saturdays early from now on. So we will be uploading them, and if you are a member, you will be getting them early if you want to watch them. So there you go. We love you guys, and we will see you next time. We actually need to figure out what we're gonna do. So if anyone has any suggestions, throw them on Patreon, throw them on our members only page, and we will figure out what we're doing next time. We're supposed to do an Evil Dead watch party.
Yeah.
Maybe next week.
Yes.
Evil Dead 1 or Evil
No.
Dead 2? Evil Dead 2.
Evil Dead 2.
Yeah, Evil
So-
Dead 2 should always win. Not always.
Hopefully you guys can make that. That will be a live stream for everybody. We should have a good time. Amber, thank you.
Bye,
And
Amber.
we will see you guys. Twin, I feel like Twin didn't comment that much as normal. So there you go. Thank you, Zach. Thank you, everybody.
Yes,
And
thanks to
peace
everyone. in
out,
chat.
guys.
Thank you guys for having me again, as always. Thank you.
Yes.